All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome out to playoff week number 1 for the iRacing Virtual Cup Series here at Darlington Raceway. This is the Tough to Tame 255 laps out here at this amazing track. I am here with my co-host, Brandon Superman Brand Browning. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, it's going great, man. I'm super excited for these guys. We're getting it kicked off in the playoffs tonight at a track that's going to reach up and grab a lot of these guys. These guys aren't going to be ready for what's coming, and that's the beauty of what's about to happen.
Man, with 17 guys out here that are vying for the playoffs, those are the ones that really have to be careful because this is called the track that is too tough to tame for a reason.
Yeah, and it's certainly too tough to tame. I mean, even if you run 15 solid laps here, one overstep and it could be the end of it. I know we talk about a lot of racetracks being technical. This one here is kind of an odd technical, Sean. It's one of those things where you have to be 100% on point 100% of the time. And that's what makes it hard because mistakes happen to everyone. And if they didn't, we wouldn't be human. So we'll see who's still standing at the end of this thing.
Yes, we will. Now let's figure out about these playoff drivers because it was kind of weird this week. We thought we had 16, and then somebody had to drop out, so we brought in another 16th driver. Then somebody came back into the playoff picture in Zach York. So here we are. There it shows 16 over there, but there's actually 17 drivers on that list.
Yeah, and I think the craziest thing, the man himself, the driver of the number 49, we saw him all season long. He's fast at every racetrack we go to. He had some issues where he was headed off to college and wasn't able to continue, but now, when it's go time, the driver of that 49, Zach York, has returned, and he's looking to pick up where he left off a few weeks ago. And I think tonight is his statement night. Now, I know he's got a little less practice than the rest of these guys because he wasn't sure. However, you never count out any of the flying arrows. You never count out any of these drivers here because you could be one of those drivers that's riding around in 10th, 11th place, not really making any noise, and somebody up there in the lead just oversteps it too far, Sean, and they're back in the pack. They're behind you, and that's exactly what you want. When you look at fourth on down to 16th, that's 18-point spread among those guys that are in and the guys that are out. Any of those could change hands here tonight. I'm not sure. I'll get a double check real quick on the amount of drivers in this thing, but no one is safe. Honestly, I think the safest drivers right now, Zach York and above, honestly, Genningsman on down. It's going to be tough, Sean.
Yes, it is. Now let's introduce everybody to these drivers because those that are new to the broadcast might not know these guys very well. So here we go. Let's start off with our points leader, Timothy Latham, in the number 5 car.
And I will tell you one thing I know for sure about Timothy Latham. Those stats right there, they show it all, man. 8 wins. Phoenix going to be the asterisk next to it. And Sean, why do we have an asterisk next to Phoenix?
Oh, it's just showing that those are the eight wins. It's showing the asterisk from the number 8 there. So
okay.
That's just a list of all. There was nothing wrong with Phoenix. He won it cleanly, I promise.
Okay. I was wondering if you had that asterisk there because we're about to return to Phoenix for the championship where we saw Timothy Latham earlier in the year lead 207 of 207 laps at Phoenix. So I wasn't sure if that was going to be an asterisk next to it on the return. But Timothy Latham certainly has been one of the fast guys all season long, and the favorite, obviously, to win the playoffs. He's going to have to be dethroned. I think we saw a 53-point buffer moving forward. So big things hopefully coming from the number 5 camp.
That's right, but somebody hot on his tail right now is the number 51 of Oscar Jensen. Beautiful purple and white car. Of course, we're doing the throwback schemes tonight, so it might not be purple and white tonight. But this guy has 4 wins at Auto Club, Michigan, and Chicagoland. So those 3 are kind of these mid-range tracks, kind of like a Darlington.
Yeah, and I've talked to a lot of guys, and I don't want to get too much into it now. We'll spoil it while we're talking. Oscar Jensen is my pick tonight. I've seen a lot of guys show Oscar as the favorite. Even before I kind of did my grid walk pre-race here, I was looking at that number 51 car and the way he was getting around this thing, and I think he's going to be the driver to beat tonight, Sean.
Man, I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all. He's got 13 top 5s, 15 top 10s, and 460 laps led. So a lot of laps out there, and he is always, always, always up at the front challenging. Well, let's talk about the guy that's coming back tonight. So we thought that he went off to college, and apparently he finished 4 years of college in about a month and a half. This is number 49, Zach York.
Yeah, and in my personal opinion, one of the odds-on favorites to reach up there and steal this thing, wrestle it away from Timothy Latham. I'm so glad. Welcome back, Zach York. I'm so glad to have you back. Just 2 wins on the season, 710 laps led. Not to be mistaken for the fact that he could have a plethora of more wins if things just go his way at the end. Had a little bit of rough luck here and there in a lot of races, but I don't think it's the last time we see any of these top 3 so far, and even some more guys on down the list in victory lane. Another one of my guys to watch tonight is going to be that 49 car making his comeback.
All right, next up, Chad Gunningsman in the number 9 car. Now, this is another guy that's out there that he has one win, but look at his top 10. So he's been in the top 10 in half of the races this year.
Yeah, and another guy that I want to put emphasis on, because Chad is one of those guys that you see him fast. I'd say with 353 laps led, if you broke that down, it breaks out to be so many races. I wish I actually had a count on exactly how many laps Chad has led at each track, because he's always one of the front runners. And even if he doesn't quite make it to first, he's usually second or third at some point during the race. Another big, huge playoff contender here, Sean.
That's right. Now, Benjamin Deed, this guy is one of the favorites in my mind, just because he once again is just one of those that's always contending. He doesn't always win, but he's always near the front of the pack, and you always see that kind of purple, pink, and black car up there. He's got one win this season at a restrictor plate race.
Yeah, absolutely. And yet again, you see, just as you said, the top 10s, the top 5 show it all. I mean, Benjamin has been fast at so many racetracks, and a lot like, Zach York and some of the other guys just caught bad luck at the end of these things. We saw him break through at Daytona last week and finally get the win. And he was so excited in the post-race interview. If you guys didn't catch that crazy finale for the regular season, definitely worth watching to see Benjamin D finally come through and be on the high end of things. As you said, one of the favorites, man. And honestly, I know our fans out there watching tonight are probably getting tired of hearing us say, hey, one of the favorites, one of the favorites. We say that because we really don't know, and it could be Benjamin D or any of these other 16 drivers that go along with him.
And another one of those drivers, Justin Boyles, he was the creator of the iVCS, and he's out here racing with it. Now, you would think that the creator of the iVCS would set it up so that he'd win a lot, and I mean he's up there towards the front, but he only has one win this season.
Yeah, and that's the one win in the column to get him locked in. However, I want to throw back to Pocono. Both times we went to Pocono, I don't think there was really a car to beat other than that 8 car. Same as Sonoma. A lot of these tracks that we've went to shoulda, coulda, woulda for the 8 car. I think 147 laps led is a little low for his talent. This man is insanely talented. One of my personal favorite guys in the league, so to speak, just because he's such a great guy and he's always out there putting on his hardest, best effort each and every week, and I think he'll make some noise here in the playoffs.
Dakota Jorgensen in the number 24 car, that nice purple and orange Clemson car. So he doesn't have a win yet, but he does have lots of top fives.
Yeah, and he's one of these guys that's kind of silent. He's gonna point you to death. That's how he got his spot in the playoffs. I mean, pointed his way out of everyone. I mean, I think he's the top driver in points that didn't have a win. So, I mean, he just pointed everyone to death. I am a closet Clemson fan, so I have support for Dakota Jorgensen, knowing that he's also a Clemson fan. Hopefully he goes far in the playoffs. I definitely think he's got the same as the rest of the guys, just a lot of power to make a lot of noise here.
And now Kendall LeBron in the number 28 car, and this is another one of those that he has one win at one of the irregular tracks, but besides that, look at the laps led. He's literally led 2 laps all season long, and one of those was one to win.
Yeah, and that was a crazy, chaotic finish that we saw there at Pocono, man. He came out of nowhere and got it done, and sometimes that's all it takes, Sean.
All right, we're going to have to race through these a little bit because we do have them out on the track. We thought it'd be 10 minutes of qualifying. It was only 5. So Greg Edney in the 30, 6 top 5s, 12 top 10s, and 1 lap led all season long. So we will see him out there. Philip Loy in the 01 car.
Philip Lloyd's going to have 3 top 5s, 9 top 10s, and 79 laps led. One of the sleeper picks here, but I think he can go a long way.
Greg Klein One of those in the yellow and black there. So the number 18 car, he has 3 top 5s, 12 top 10s, and 34 laps led for the season. Ted Pullen, he is a crowd favorite out here than in the number 54 Pepsi car.
Yeah, I was looking forward to spending more time on Ted Pullen. Unfortunately, like you said, a little bit close on time here. 1 top 5, 7 top 10, 21 laps led, and a win coming soon. I'm telling you guys.
Tim Hendry in that beautiful pinkish, purplish, and black car. I love the numbers on the back of the car, by the way. I've got to say that. And so that's 2 top 5s, 7 top 10s, and 4 laps led on the season for him.
We're going to have Mark Kuda in the 77 machine. That Mountain Dew car is beautiful. 5 top 10s and 11 laps led. Mark Kuda, don't count him out, man. He's coming for these guys.
Jeremy Boucher in the yellow and black North Force car, and that's his number 4 car there. Another one of those cars with the number on the back. 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, and 28 laps led.
We're going to have Jason Tripp in the number 91 Team SRN car. 3 top 10s and 4 laps led. If there's anybody out here working hard, it's the driver of that 91 car.
And last but certainly not least, the number 55 of Jordan Sailors. He has all the talent in the world, just hasn't quite proven it yet out here. 3 top 10s, 3 laps led. Look for him to try to pull forward today.
Yeah, and I think this can be a big one for any one of these guys, Sean. I believe we timed it perfectly. These cars just left the grid, starting to pace around the field. And I think out of the 27th race of the season here, right now, I know I say it every week, but the nerves. The last couple of weeks, we've seen the guys at the top take their time and be easy, be cautious. But right now, they're not locked in anymore, Sean. They have to go for it.
That's right. Up front, we got Zach York returning from his little hiatus, and he is on the pole, but points leader Timothy Latham is right on his outside.
Yeah, and in the second row, Benjamin D., the teammate of Zach York, followed by the teammate of Timothy Latham, Dakota Jorgensen in 4th.
All right, we'll get through the rest of them here shortly. I know we're coming around turns 3 and 4. We are going to get going here tonight.
The pace car is going to make his way to safety down pit road. Hard on the loud pedal here in just a moment is going to be that beautiful Flying Arrows machine. He's waiting, and he's off to playoff racing. Boogity, 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 they're green at Darlington.
Man, and Timothy Latham did not give him any room at all on that restart, and he is going to jump out to the lead.
Yeah, and I'm not sure there. I'm surprised that Zach York didn't take that outside line, because I know that's where Timothy wants to be, and a lot of these guys behind him, Sean, want to be on that outside pushing forward. So Zach York maybe using Timothy Latham right now as a pawn in chess, learning the lines, learning to get a little faster over the course of the long run. We know he sat it on the pole, but still obviously a lot to learn as they clip turn 1 beautifully, almost in the wall is that 49 machine.
Yeah, and Timothy Latham, he is out here to prove that just because Zach York is back, he is not afraid of him.
Yeah, and I posted a meme in chat yesterday in the Discord, and a buddy of mine and Timothy's made a post about Zach York being gone and him being confident, but then we got the notice that Zach York was going to return, and it was an update to the news break saying that Latham was no longer confident, because if there's anybody that's been in his heels throughout the season here, it's been that 49 car, just as he is now, a shadow to the 5 and wanting to dethrone the king.
And what a great call by iVCS to go ahead and allow him to take his spot in the playoffs. He did earn his way in, but he thought he'd be off at college, and so they allowed him to come back in, but they didn't kick anybody else out of the playoffs, so now there's 17 of them here.
Yeah, we've seen that provisional in real life a few years ago with the Clint Boyer incident, where they kind of cheated, if you will, and he had to scratch his itch, and we wound up throwing a 17th car into the playoffs. So it's nothing that we haven't seen before, and something to be expected. If you earned your way in, congratulations to you. But Zach York making it a little bit tougher to make the climb and stay in this thing.
And it looks like Zach York is starting to get a little bit loose out there on the exit of those turns.
Yeah, it was almost like once he got to the back bumper of that 5 and they were sharing air, so to speak. Obviously, Latham in the clean air. And right now, Zach York with a little bit of gap is having some of his own air. But once he gets to the back bumper of that 5 car, it was certainly tough because there was no air, no clean air to be shown. Timothy going to slide high this time by. He's going to get a big run off the corner, but not letting Zach York get too far behind him. And I think that's got a lot to do with the driver of that 49. Sean, one thing we didn't get to do pre-race that I'd like to do real quick. Who is your pick to win this race?
You know what? I am going to go a little bit off the rails here tonight. I know there's so many people out there that could be the favorites. I'm going to go with Ben D because I just think that Ben D is the guy that can close out a race.
I certainly enjoy that pick, and I think you're exactly right. I think that's a solid pick. Again, I'm gonna stick with my guy Oscar Jensen at this racetrack. It just felt right to see him practicing last night. I jumped into practice and turned a few laps with these guys. I was nowhere near as fast as they were. Actually, I was dead last in the session before it was all said and done. So I'm going to stick with Oscar Jensen, though. Oscar wasn't the fastest last night. Certainly didn't have the qualifying he was hoping for. But I think before it's all said and done, he'll be near the front.
So we're going to see here, Zach York is going to the inside of Timothy Latham. He is going to take a peek, and he is going to make that pass.
Yeah, and I knew it wouldn't be long before he started pressing the issue there. He wanted to lead this thing, maybe get him a bonus point here. Obviously, was able to hold on to his third-place spot in the standings, but now it's real. There's no more riding, and I think before it's all said and done here, we see him actually peeking inside. I was going to say maybe Benjamin D going to put pressure on that 5 car, trying to get him a point as well. Obviously, the lone 2 Arrows standing here. Oscar Jensen, an affiliate of the Arrows, but the Arrows themselves, maybe if Benjamin could get clear of the 5, Zach York can say, hey, here, come get you a bonus point, bud. Do what you can do. But obviously, Sean, the one thing that I want to touch on here, it's back to almost like Daytona or Dover, as stage points are going to be huge here. The stage points are going to allow you to close up spots on the guys behind you. You know, in a lot of leagues I know on iRacing, they don't stage race, so there's no stage points. So it's just straight points at the end. But in stage 1, there's 10 points to be grabbed, 10 on down to 1. That's first to 10th place. And as well, in stage 2, there's going to be 10 more points up for grabs. So that could be huge for these guys here, Sean.
Well, as these leaders up here are starting to space out just a little bit, let's go towards the back of the pack and let's see how everybody's doing. So back past Dakota Jorgensen there in 4th place, we have Kendall LeBron back there in 5th. And so he's trying to reel in Jorgensen there. And then Chad Gunningsman back there in 6th place.
Yeah, so some of these guys starting to get a little bit spread out. I do want to say right now, I'm going to double check before I mention it. I will say the first of our playoff drivers, Tim Hendry in the 07, going to fall a lap down here. So obviously want to turn that around, but not off to a great start so far, Sean.
No, something must have happened really early in that race. I'm not really sure what it was, and we'll try to find that out for you. But he is scoring a lap and a half down now at this point.
Yeah, and you hate to see that for any of the guys, especially those that are in blue at the top of your screen. Those are going to be our playoff drivers. So obviously, just want to look here. I'm going to see, Sean, what exactly happened. Not really showing anything on the board for myself as to what happened to Tim Hendry in that 07.
Well, as you're doing that, Ben D moves into 2nd place, getting around Latham there. He is still a second behind his teammate, Zach York, but he pulls into 2nd, and I'm not sure what's going on with Latham, if maybe he's just setting up for a long run here or what.
I do know, I don't want to say for sure, but I think they may have planned out early for this to be a night race. Not really sure if it was still supposed to be a night race, and with all the issues that we had, it wound up being a daytime race. We did have a little bit of delay for some issues with iRacing, but maybe, you know, early in this thing, that 5 car was set up for a nighttime race, and since it has become a daytime race, maybe needed the first pit stop to make some changes, Sean.
Definitely, this is going to test everybody's ability to adjust mid-race.
I think the big thing that we look for here is how people come back from sliding back. Like for Latham, you know, obviously he got out front. He led just a hair there early, but now he's back a little more. And as we move, and maybe he falls, you know, victim to his teammate Jorgensen, and Kendall LeBron right now in the top 5, Oscar Jensen coming all up behind the driver of that 5 machine. We'll see how he's able to rebound once he does fall back, and maybe able to get back out front later in this thing. Obviously doesn't feel that he needs to be there now, which likely is the case.
And there is your pick, number 51, Oscar Jensen, out there in 6th place, trying to reel in Kendall LeBron.
I think if there's anybody that's going to get up here that's not up here right now and early, it's going to be the driver of that 51 machine, Oscar Jensen. He's slowly starting to pick his way through the field. Obviously didn't start where he wanted to, but he's coming now, Sean.
And you got a nice little tight pack up there with Timothy Latham leading the way. But he's got Dakota Jorgensen on his tail right now. Looks like Jensen's going to go down to the inside, try to pick up a position. Oh, that was York.
Oh, it was Zach York, and I thought I saw maybe, not sure what happened there with Zach York.
Well, let's see if we can figure that out for everybody. Let's go to a rec replay. See if we can find out what happened here.
Looks like he might just tag the wall with that right rear. We will take a...
I'm not really seeing anything there. He had such a huge lead.
I think at this point right here, Sean, he's going to tag the wall just a hair, but I saw him trying to make the pit road, and obviously pit road is far, far left here on the next straightaway. I think he just missed pit road and got loose, Sean.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he just...
He's going to come down almost here like he wants to pit, doesn't get there, locks the tires up, and not really sure.
Wow, and that brings out a caution. Kind of a strange move to get back up on the track there.
Sound like technical difficulties maybe from what I'm hearing. The 49 car still sitting here on pit road, so I think maybe had an issue with iRacing. Sounded like coming from the driver of the 49, he is going to move here. Maybe a steering wheel issue coming out for him. So definitely odd timing and unfortunate nonetheless, Sean, because he was leading.
Man, he was not just leading, he had gone all the way out there. He was a good second and a half ahead of everybody.
Trying to listen and see here a little bit to the driver radio. Still some difficulties coming from that 49 just sitting on the backstretch here. Still at a stop. Obviously doesn't want to sit there too long. Maybe... Oh, no, still sitting there. So I'm not sure what's going on, but obviously the rest of these guys out here pitting, getting their pit stops underway. Jeremy Boucher.
He's going to lead those cars down pit road. And let's see if anybody hangs out there. And it looks like Ben D is going to assume the lead.
Not the way you want to get the lead if you're Benjamin D being your teammate. But, you know, when it comes down to it at the end of this thing, teammates are everything. But then again, you got to be out for yourself, Sean. So lucky position for Benjamin D to be in. I heard a lot of those guys come and say that they didn't see Zach York until the last second. No one made contact with him, so that is huge. Hopefully everything works out for the driver of that number 49 Flying Arrows machine. I think he did wind up having to tow, maybe having to exit the race from what I was listening to. He did throughput, so I do believe it's going to be a restart coming of the iRacing server for that 49. Right now, showing one lap down, going to fall a few more. Still plenty of time, though, Sean, to get those laps back, don't you think?
Plenty of time, but, man, what a bizarre situation. And, of course, it's been a little bit bizarre all day long. We had a few troubles with iRacing getting into the race itself. And so this whole thing has kind of been a test for everybody to adjust. So here we are. Ben D is right out front, Benjamin D. And in the chat right now, Marianne Cornell says, good luck tonight, number 54, Ted Pullen.
Yeah, and I love seeing her and Dana Marie Chambers out there in the chat. They always find us. They always support their guy. Right now, guys, your guy's going to look to restart in the 5th position, I think is what I'm showing live. Oh, nope, he's falling back now, back to about 10th now. So he was sitting up there nice, but still a lot of racing left to be done.
Yeah, a lot of time left here tonight. But we are going to, I believe the number 21 of Richard Springer is going to get a wave around here once we go to 1 to green, and Benjamin D is going to be the one that leads us to the start.
Yeah, and I think this one's about to amp up a little bit because you don't want to be caught on the wrong side of some issues like that, and unfortunately Zach York was, so we'll see the rebound, trying to get back with one of the leaders here. Not really sure.
And in the Discord channel right now, Zach York says, my roommate turned the lights off and my Oculus shut off.
Oh, no. So it definitely sounds like he may still be at college. Unfortunate for what's happening here. Maybe we'll see him get back in this thing, Sean.
I think he should get a new roommate.
It's time to go to the board of directors in charge and say, hey, we need a new guy. He's affected my ability to win this championship.
Yes, he has. So, again, still out there under caution. Looks like it might be a semi-long caution here, and maybe the iVCS is trying to give him a little bit of time to get back in, but now we are 1 to green.
I see my guy, my pick, Oscar Jensen, looking to restart on the outside. Again, Sean, not really sure what's going through these guys' minds. I think if I was the driver of one of these machines out here, I'd want that top, man. That top coming off of 2 is so fast, but I think it's going to take a real stout race car to beat him on the bottom.
I got to tell you, with all the changes to this race and everything that's going on right now, I think it's advantage for those guys towards the bottom of the leaderboard because these guys at the top are so honed in on one type of race. And now that race has changed. So the guys at the bottom of the leaderboard might have a shot here to steal one.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right, especially if they were the guys lower on the leaderboard that come in and were prepared for everything versus just having a solid finish. I think that'll be standing true. And we see Kendall LeBron in third. That might be the guy to watch. One of those sleeper picks for a lot of people. But off at turn number 4, Sean, get us going.
All right, Benjamin D has the restart right now, and there he goes. He pushes that gas pedal, and he is off. Oscar Jensen, not really sleeping, but man, Benjamin D got a great restart there.
Yeah, that's the one thing that it's going to take to start on the bottom like that. It's going to take a rocket restart, and we saw that just come from Benjamin D in the 97 machine. But Oscar, I think, is going to try his hardest here to reel him back in. Obviously wants to be as far to the good as he can be before the end of this one, because point-wise, if Oscar can gain some points here, maybe get a stage win or 2, he can track down Timothy Latham, who's about 16 points ahead of him. So definitely something got to be on the mind of Oscar Jensen.
And Zach York being out of the race, his teammate is picking up the slack right now. Benjamin D pulling away a little bit.
Yeah, and obviously no tire saving going on right now for the driver of that 97 machine. Wants to save all of that for later on in the race. He said, we got 8 sets of tires tonight. We ain't got nothing to worry about, Sean.
Man, 8 sets of tires. On a track like this that eats up tires so quickly, they're going to need every one of them.
That is a certain thing that you just said there. I think the tires here, you're going to want to get them every opportunity that makes sense. We do see Jason Tripp slow down on the bottom there, maybe coming to pit road this time by. Do have a marker. Looks like he might have had some contact, maybe the outside wall. I'll go back and take a look at that real quick.
He spun out there on pit, getting into the entry of pit road, so he's going to go a lap down.
I'm going to say there's a whole lot of damage to the left side of that 91 car, Sean. Not what you want to see for our playoff driver and good friend Jason Tripp. Surprised that the caution didn't come out, honestly. After watching the replay, he did smack the inside wall and loop the car as well on the front stretch. So, tough start to the playoff for a couple of the drivers, Zach York and Jason Tripp.
Might be a little bit of nerves in this first round, but luckily in this type of a setup, there are 3 races before we make the first cut to the top 12 drivers.
Yeah, and I'm actually trying to work some thing out now where I can kind of, at the end of stage 1, keep everyone updated on my end as far as what we should be seeing from playoff drivers. So doing that as we go along here. Want to kind of almost key it in, as you would say, to see who's where after each stage and know who's looking good and who's looking bad stage for stage here tonight.
Sounds good. We'll definitely keep us updated, but Benjamin D out front by 0.6 of a second over your pick, Oscar Jensen.
I think he's going to have something to say about my pick here tonight. And if I'm not mistaken, that was your pick, correct? So our pick's 1-2 right now.
Well, I wasn't going to say it, but I'll take it.
I tell you what, the one thing I love broadcasting with you, but the one thing that I don't like is losing. And it seems like every time we make our picks, you come out on the higher end of it. So if you're Benjamin D, that's got to make you feel good right now. Sean Griffith usually picks the winner over myself. So hopefully we can turn that around here with Oscar Jensen.
Well, we're not going to play favorites here, but I enjoy kind of having one up over you there.
Oh, I definitely understand. it kills me because the one race that I made a pick and I wasn't in the booth with you, I wound up getting 3 of the top 4 right. So
That's right.
It seems
That's
like
right.
my luck doesn't play when we're in the booth together. But still a whole lot of racing here. Who knows? We could both be wrong. Kendall LeBron came to play, though, Sean. He's riding 3rd right now.
That's right, and we're focusing right now on Justin Boyles, normally in the red and black cars. Tonight he is in the silver and black, number 8 there. He just moved into 4th place.
Certainly going to be one of those drivers we see coming forward, trying to pick up where he left off, really, Sean. He led a lot of laps in a lot of races we saw, but never really showed a lot of finishes until late in the season when we got to Kentucky. It was really where he really shined through. As I said, Pocono, Sonoma, a lot of those tracks ran good, and I got to speak with him about, I'm not sure if he's out there yet, but his old man, Mark Boyles, and the Buttercup comment. I thought it was funny. I told him last night, we were talking and joking around. I said, come on, Buttercup, you got to practice. You got to be ready for the race tomorrow. And I just thought it was funny because, like I said, I love Justin Boyles, one of my favorite guys to be around from this league, personality-wise. He's a great guy. And a lot of races still to be done by him, but I think he may make it all the way, Sean.
He possibly could make it all the way to the finals there. So we've got Benjamin D out front by almost a second now. He is trying to check out.
Yeah, and I think if you are Benjamin D, you've kind of settled into that strategy, and right now you have to play it. You can't go back on it now. You're out front, you're pushing the issue, but Kendall LeBron moving that 28 machine into 2nd place, and he's got something to say about Zach York being out front. I know I can't recall right away who it was, but I talked to someone, and they said Kendall LeBron really had great fast race cars, but just didn't put the full race together. And I think that's starting to show right now. We see him fast early here, and I will say, sitting right now in the 8th spot in the playoffs, only +5, Sean. What better way to make sure you make it to the next round than to go out there and stage point your way into the next round?
That's right. We'll go back through the field here in just 1 second, but I just received a message from Zach York that says, everybody watch the 97. And that's Benjamin D.
Yeah. Something told me I should have stuck with the arrows. I was so excited to wake up and, get the day going, read the news that Zach York was back. But obviously, his teammate wants the spotlight on him right now. But I will say, I'm going to counter that message, Mr. York, and say, everybody watch that 28 car, because I know he's getting bigger in the mirror of Benjamin D right now.
Yeah, we're just kind of going back through the pack here a little bit. So looks like PJ Engelken's there, and he's just riding around in that Gatorade car. Let's go up to a fan favorite here, Ted Pullen. He is up in 8th place, but he's just riding around by himself right now. So everybody kind of spreading out on this track.
Yeah, that's to be expected here, especially through the first stage or so. Really surprised that we see guys like Kendall LeBron pushing this early, but Oscar's kind of settled in. Timothy Latham back to 5th. Boyles was up to 4th. So varying strategies right now on whether to go or wait, and I think that might play big. Not really sure, if you're Oscar Jensen or Timothy Latham, Zach York, even if you really worry about stage point racing, you just want to make the next round. You obviously got 24 to the good for Zach York, 37 for Oscar Jensen, and 53 good for Timothy Latham. So obviously a great opportunity here, but I will say, Sean, the battle heating up for the race lead right now.
Man, he is up there, but Benjamin D is starting to just lap cars out on the track.
That's what's going to make it tough for some of these guys closer to the bottom that are just riding right now. We start to see them getting picked off, 2 up in front there of Benjamin D, so he's going to continue to tick those away. And I think that's about to show big, if I'm not mistaken. Kendall LeBron must have watched pre-race, Sean, and saw where we were talking about only his 2 laps led. If he keeps it up, he's about to change that stat right now and match the whole regular season in race 1 of the playoffs.
Man, I know he wants that first stage, so he's going to get up there. He's going to try to lead as much as possible, but he has definitely pulled in Benjamin D, and if that keeps up, then he's going to pass him up. There he goes. He's going to try to go to the inside. He takes a peek, but gets back right back in line there.
I am so surprised to see him driving his heart out right now, Sean. He is making sure he does all he can do to get up here and do the thing, man.
Well, man, anytime you can keep up with Benjamin D, that is going to be good signs for your races. He's going to take another peek to the inside. Can't quite get there, though.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're Kendall LeBron, you have to be careful here because you don't want to put yourself in an odd spot. Obviously, it's so hard to pass on the bottom here, and that's where Zach York was kind of forcing him to go almost. Not going to be able to use the car as a pick. It looks like they are going to make it to, is that Greg Edney?
That's Greg Edney. Yeah, that's Greg Edney.
So, obviously, lap traffic not playing into his favor, but what it is doing with them peeking inside and racing, Oscar's starting to inch his way back up in here to make it a 3-car race. Really wanting to... Oh, Greg Edney's going to tap the wall there behind the leaders right on the outside of Oscar Jensen at 51. No damage is done to anything but that 30 machine. So, really great racing shaping up here. I know we're early. A whole lot of racing to go, but, man, they're making it fun so far.
They are, and every couple of laps, Kendall LeBron takes a peek to the inside, but then Benjamin D just has that line on the outside and will not let him get underneath.
Yeah, I think right now, from a driver's standpoint, what he's doing is he's saying, hey, bud, I'm trying to take the lead here. You know, I don't want to push you. I just want to get by. Right now, Benjamin D, though, trying to go for most laps led. That's another bonus point in the box for the 97 if he does lead the most laps. So, Kendall, not going to let it happen if it's up to him, though.
And once again, you know, LeBron, he had a little bit of a better run there, but he had to back off. There's a lap car coming up, and that would have put him in a very awkward position.
Yeah, and that's the one thing right now is I know it's got to be frustrating, but if you're in the Kendall LeBron camp, if anyone has contact with Kendall LeBron, let him know to be easy. You're in second place. You're fast. 255 laps tonight. You don't want to put that car in the wall or burn the tires off of it. Oh, but Benjamin D going to get up and ever so touch the wall. Jeremy Boucher. Oh, they're going to be 3 wide into the 7 car. No contact with the 28, but man, they got close.
Now it looks like he's got some damage there on the inside of his car, and then LeBron gets a little out of shape.
LeBron did a great job, though, to keep it off the wall, but yes, he did. He got a little out of shape, and oh, man, Oscar going to get into the back of the 97 sideways. Man, that shows how hard it is to get around this racetrack. Not really sure. Miscommunication maybe with the 4 machine as the leaders went by, lapping Jeremy Boucher that time, but obviously, the only one that come out on the bad side of that was Benjamin D, but he's still, for the moment, oh, he's loose again, Sean.
Oh, man, these tires are going away very, very quickly. Kendall LeBron, after leading only 2 laps the entire season, has now led more than that in this race alone.
Yeah, and I think that's a statement from that 28 car. Hopefully, not really sure about the tempers there. I don't know if Benjamin D feels like maybe he got put up there in the wall. Oh, we see the lap car up there in the wall. Smacked it hard. Is that going to be Danny Dowell in the 21 machine, or the 2 machine? I'm sorry. I do believe that's who that's going to be. Oh, no.
Timothy Latham with his nozzle off. Yeah.
That is huge here, Sean. The 5 car missing the entire front end. No motor damage. It doesn't look like he may be down on power, but he's still rolling.
Let's see what we got here. Yeah, it looked like it was Boucher and Timothy Latham both involved in that, and Boucher just looks like he overdrove that. Oh, wow. He overdrove it and just went dead right into the wall and takes out Latham at the same time. And, man, the people that are looking at this right now, that is going to be some serious damage on Timothy Latham's car. So that points lead is in danger now.
Yeah, and I will say the unfortunate part about that, obviously with more to lose there than anything, Jeremy Boucher right now going to be underneath the cut line for sure. I know he was right underneath coming into the race, but obviously going to hurt there. Not sure how much damage the 5 car had. Obviously a pessimistic outlook to the race during my grid walk. Did my best Michael Waltrip impression and went down on the grid walk and talked to Timothy Latham, and he expected to get taken out here on some troubles early, just being Darlington. So that certainly helped true for the driver in the number 5 machine. Hopefully not too much damage. See if I can get an update from him here in just a little while and exactly how much damage he has to that machine.
And everybody coming down onto pit road. Benjamin D on pit road, Dakota Jorgensen, Kendall LeBron, Oscar Jensen. So the leaders are on pit road. Chad Gunningsman and Tim Hendry are still out on the track.
I think I saw Oscar Jensen going to win the race off of pit road. It looked like, not sure, maybe going to cycle back somewhere in the pack there, but Chad wanted the bonus point. Looks like as soon as he gets that, maybe going to come to pit road this time.
Brandon, are you surprised that people were getting lapped as quickly as what they were getting lapped here?
No, not at all. This is probably, I've driven a lot of racetracks throughout the game, Sean, and I think this is the toughest one I've ever been on. I think I'd rather go to Sonoma with one eye closed than to come here and try to run this racetrack on a good day. With maybe 4 eyes even. I think I'd rather take my chances at Sonoma, because this one, we saw it, man. You saw the 97, side by side with the 28. He just gets up in the wall. We saw it with the 5 car. Nothing he could do. He did nothing wrong, but all of a sudden, there's a 4 car in front of you smacking the wall. So there's a reason it's too tough to tame the lady in black. I'm trying to take a few names tonight. She's already got a few. Right now, though, my focus has been on those guys below the cut line, less than 5 points or below the cut line. It's going to be about the bottom 8 or 9 drivers. Right now, the one doing all he can do is the driver of the 28, Kendall LeBron, did get a bonus point for leading a lap, so that's going to be huge for him moving into this thing. But still waiting to see, Sean, some of these guys down there, Jordan Sailors, Jason Tripp. Obviously, we saw Jeremy Boucher, Mark Kuda, Tim Hendry, Ted Pullen, some of those guys close to the bottom. Going to need to step it up a little bit here and try to get some points.
Man, a lot of damage down there on pit road. Benjamin D was in the pits for over a minute. Richard Springer in there for 31 seconds. PJ Engelkins for 36 seconds. Danny Dow, Jeremy Boucher, both of them about a minute. Timothy Latham, he's going to be in there for a while, buddy.
Yeah, and I hate to see that for Tim. He's had such a phenomenal season. Just hate to see things like that going for him, because, I'm really out of his control, out of anyone's control. Nothing that Jeremy Boucher did wrong either. Just kind of got a little bit loose, and the lady put another name on the wall.
That's right. This is such a tricky track, especially when those tires start to go away, because one little mistake on the wheel causes you to just spring back up to the right, just like you saw with Boucher, and that's it.
Yeah, and really, I mean, you've seen it. You saw it from Zach York early. You saw it from Benjamin when he was in the lead, Timothy Latham when he was leading. Just anyone who's been up in the front pushing their race cars, just slide that back in, getting out of the corner. You really, really have to race this track almost like a dirt car with an egg under the pedal. You don't ever want to mash it coming off of the corner, because we see what that can do, sliding the rear end out. Big things right now, going to look and see. Not sure if the man's on top of the box for Jason Tripp, but should see him. Oh, he is 20 laps down right now. Jason Tripp is. So going to get one of those back right now, though. I see him in between the pace car and the leader up there. So try to minimize the damage. If he could keep ticking off laps back, maybe be a lucky dog or two as we get later into this thing. Anyone who falls out, Timothy Latham, those guys getting damaged, he's going to gain spots on. So that's one thing he needs.
Well, let's take a look at this playoff picture here really quick. So we have Tim Hendry that is on the lead lap right now. We have Mark Kuda, who is on the lead lap, the last car on the lead lap, I believe. And then you have Jeremy Boucher, who just had that huge hit. Jason Tripp, who was in the pits for about 9 minutes. And then Jordan Sailors, that was in the pits for 10 minutes. So these bottom 5, only one of them is in position to even get some points here.
And I will say an unfortunate circumstance just took place for the driver of the 9 car, Chad Gunningsman, coming off of turn number 2. He's going to rub the outside wall, causing a little bit of right side damage. So, man, this has been crazy, Sean, and we're getting ready to go back green flag racing.
I'm not sure they want to go back green flag racing, but here we go. Oscar Jensen, he's got the restart.
Waiting, waiting. Still waiting, and he's gone. Kendall LeVron was ready for it, though. Going to match the restart we saw by the 51 machine and likely put himself into a power position here. Man, Oscar drives it in, though. A couple of guys sliding side by side. That's going to be Justin Boyles and I believe Ted Pullen trying to duke it out in front of Chad Genningsman here. Not safe right now if you're the 51, though.
No, I'm looking at the pit times right now. These top three, they had regular pit stops, and then people behind them all had longer pit stops. So these top three right now are clean cars.
Yeah, and man, Dakota trying to carry the banner for Flashpoint Racing. Obviously some trouble from his teammate. But man, he peeked inside of Oscar Jensen and thought better of it. He decided, nah. But we do have a caution on the racetrack.
Yes, we do, and I believe that's going to be Tim Hendry, that last person that was that last one that we were just talking about on the standings. Let's go back and find out what happened there with another rec replay. And it just looks like just coming around.
I'd say pick the throttle up too early here. Oh, no.
He might have gotten a little bit of help. We can review that and go back and get another shot of that.
I believe that's going to be Richard Springer in the 21 car giving him some help, it looked like.
Yeah, he definitely got into the back of him there, and that put him into the wall. So now all five of the guys that are outside the cut line, all with damage out there on the track, none of them will be on the lead lap after this, I don't believe.
Yeah, I'm just looking right now to see. I want to say we do have one. No. We do have one driver outside right now on the lead lap. That's going to be Mark Kuda in the 77 machine. Left the standalone. Tim Hendry as well, still on the lead lap, but we did see him get just a little damage earlier.
Man, and with only 55 laps down out of 255 laps, this looks to be a battle of attrition.
Yeah, and the one thing that I want to point on, I'm going to go down the list here and just talk about drivers that are here that aren't in the playoffs, and I'm telling you, it's going to be a real short list. Richard Springer in the 21 car, Daniel Dow in the 2 car, Thomas Rutherford in the 44 car. That's going to be the short list. So obviously, the guys in the playoffs all showing up here tonight, not making it easy for you if you're in the playoffs because you're racing with other playoff drivers no matter where you go.
Well, and again,
obviously, go ahead.
Only one of those is still in the lead lap, and that is Daniel Dow right now.
Yeah, and Danny going to be the last car on the lead lap, and honestly, not sure if he's in the pits or not. Just looking to see. Oh, no, he's just come out of the pits. He's catching up now, I believe. It's almost what it looks like. He's got to catching up to the pace car. Just looking at my live timing and scoring over here, but man, that's the one guy. You know, if you're at the bottom, if you're Zach York, Greg Klein, Jason Tripp, Jordan Sailors, Timothy Latham, those guys, Jeremy Boucher, even. You want to see Daniel Dow go up here and win this thing. Don't let another playoff driver win it when you're having a bad night, Sean.
Absolutely. Anything that can happen to put somebody in front of the guy in front of you is all that. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, I saw a couple cars come back down pit road there. Kendall LeBron, Tim Hendry going to pit on lap 54 there. So a little bit of a change yet again up front. I want to take a peek at the right side of this 97 car real quick on my end here. See if not perfect, but it definitely looks better than it did. So Benjamin D going to have a little bit of damage there to the right rear and to the right front. So hoping he can continue to repair that. That's the worst spot you see right there on your screen right now. Obviously, that's going to hurt the aero on the car, but maybe, just maybe, as fast as that car was, I don't think we got anything to worry. Actually, a lot of left front damage as well, but I think it was fast enough that it'll cycle through.
Man, just all sorts of stuff. And the guy that we really haven't talked too much about tonight, Justin Boyles, back there in 4th place right now. So he's putting himself in position to do a little bit of damage out there on the track of his own.
Yeah, right now he come in here about 12 points to the good and just a few points shy of moving up to 3rd realistically with Zach York missing Chad maybe behind him right now. Yeah, Chad is behind him right now. So trying to move up the standings moving forward. Obviously don't think quite almost impossible for him to get to Timothy Latham without a perfect race from Justin Boyles, but wanting to maybe get the 3rd or 2nd here as we move forward, John.
And then right back behind him, right back behind Justin Boyles, is fan favorite Ted Pullen in the number 54 car.
Kind of silent in the chat tonight. It's going to be the guys from the Ted Pullen camp. Haven't really seen a whole lot of them, but still yet 200, just short of 200 laps here remaining. So I'm sure they'll make their way into this before too long and kind of get loud and rowdy in our chat, supporting their guy.
Well, you can see this is throwback week, and so we can see a few of these cars have some throwback schemes out there. Looks like Mark Kuda has the old Mountain Dew car. And let's see who else has. That's the Hudson Hornet car from Cars. So
has to be my favorite throwback on the track. Right
that's
now.
a good one.
Be the Hudson Hornet.
That is definitely a good one. And then Thomas Rutherford, even though he was in the pits for a long, long time, he's only completed 8 laps now, but in the Gatorade car. So a few older cars out there.
I do enjoy that Gatorade car. I saw the throwback of that on a truck this week and so impressed. But I can't get over that Hudson Hornet back there, man. I wish I know him and a couple other guys are good friends. I think the ultimate winner for me would have been if Timothy Latham showed up in a Lightning McQueen car. I think that would have just been perfect for the season.
You have a Hudson Hornet, you have a Lightning McQueen, and then find another teammate out there and get him in Mater.
Yeah, I think you absolutely need a Mater. I will say Jason Tripp, though, did also have a beautiful paint scheme on board in that 91 machine as well.
Let's see if we can find that one here. There you go. Yeah, man, that is one of the old style cars. It looks really good on the new style cars, though, too.
Yes, it does. That is a beautiful, beautiful machine. Not having the 90s wanted so far, but still a lot of racing left. We do enter turn number 3 right now. Oscar Jensen on point. Dakota Jorgensen looking to lead a lap here. Wants to get a bonus point. Teammate behind him, an affiliate behind Oscar Jensen. The pace car's down and away. Oscar's going to keep these guys sleeping behind him. Waiting, and gone is the 51 car. An excellent restart both for him and Benjamin D in second place, as they're going to get clear of third and fourth now. Dakota Jorgensen and what was Justin Boyles, but it looks like Ted Pullen is positioned that number 54 car ahead of the 8 right now.
Yes, he is. Oscar Jensen just rocked them to sleep on that restart.
Yeah, and that private premier car service, Robert Montgomery on board, the sponsor of that 51 machine, likely watching somewhere for his driver to try to reach up here. And as we said, a lot of odds-on favorites here was the 51. Everyone I talked to, man, Oscar. You know, didn't really hear a whole lot of things. Obviously, Zach York, the only driver that said Benjamin D was the only different driver I heard other than Oscar. So I don't know if Oscar's talked to these guys, but a lot of pressure on him to win this race. A lot of guys picked him as the favorite.
And you saw there a damaged car on the bottom of the track. That is Timothy Latham out there, and he is currently scoring 14 laps down.
The scary thing about a mistake like that from Timothy Latham is you have to race with him next week, and he rebounds harder than Shaquille O'Neal will say, man. He's going to come back next week, fight, working harder than ever on the setup this week, and I feel bad for these guys next week, Sean.
Well, keep in mind, Oscar Jensen is second in the points, and he is out there leading, and so he could really put a huge dent into Timothy Latham's lead, if not pass him.
Yeah, right now, positive 37 to Tim's positive 13. So if Oscar gets a stage win here and Timothy Latham does not, that knocks off 10 of those points right off the rip. It's a 6-point difference. So we've seen Timothy most of the season as the points leader, but Oscar can seriously hurt that here. Don't have the information on top of me right now. What lap is stage 1 over on?
It is over on lap 80.
So just about 17 to go after this lap here, and Oscar's going to put a big dent in Timothy's parade, so to speak. We saw Benjamin D tag the wall there off the corner again. Such a fast race car on that number 97, but can't keep it out of the wall. Just the slightest missed turn puts you right in the wall. And I do want to say, while we're talking about the man out front, Oscar Jensen, I sat one night in a Discord call with Timothy, and realistically, he was in the wall hard there. Benjamin D going to lose the second spot now to Jorgensen. If he's not careful, he's going to have that car back there with the 5 machine. He's just overstepping the edge. Oh, he's going to drive it in. That was close to contact with the 24 car on the bottom there, but didn't look like too much. Here come a couple cars behind him. It's going to be Ted Pullen and Justin Boyles. Not necessarily in that order, but I was talking with Timothy Latham, and he did say, as well as I agreed, Oscar the favorite at a lot of these tracks remaining in the playoffs. And, you know, places that we doubled at, Oscar had good finishes at. Places that we haven't been to yet, Oscar a favorite. If not Oscar, then Timothy Latham, Zach York, Benjamin D, all names that came up recurrently in that chat with Timothy Latham, and that's coming from your points leader, who thinks that some of these guys behind him here really have a shot to win a lot of these playoff races.
You can see, we're just following Benjamin D there for a little while to see, you can see how hard he's driving that car. It is coming off extremely loose.
Yeah, and I think that's just where he's picking up the throttle. Obviously has set in his mind where he wants to pick up the throttle, and right now, not working well with that 97 machine. Off the corner, he's so loose that Dakota just gets such a run on him. By the time they get down into the corner, kind of a slight checkup amongst him and Jorgensen. Jorgensen has to just let the run go to the wayside.
In the chat right now, Marianne Cornell saying, awesome tonight, son, and that is to Ted Pullen, who is up there right now in 6th place, making a really good run tonight.
I see Rich Cornell out there too. I will say, every time someone says that name, every time someone says Ted Pullen tonight, I have a good feeling about that 54 car. If he can just keep it out of trouble, if he can keep it out of the wall. We see a lot of these front runners making mistakes. And if you're Ted Pullen in that 54, if you're running right now in the 6th position, keep it out of the wall, keep it out of trouble. Mike's doing a good job there. You see a car coming inside of him. He said, hey, go do your thing. Ted Pullen maybe coming up here to hang around at the end and get some huge playoff points for us.
That's right, but up front, Oscar Jensen has completely driven away from everybody. 2.5 second lead over Benjamin D. And of course, Benjamin D having his own problems back in the back. He is completely loose. The car is almost completely out of control, and Dakota Jorgensen is just kind of staying back, just waiting for that car to hit the wall.
Well, I will say on the matter of staying back, I've heard Dakota voice his opinions with that 97 machine once or twice now, knowing that he's faster, pleading, oh, we got a car spinning up in front of Benjamin D into the inside wall. It looked like the Jason Tripp number 91 machine.
It was the Jason Tripp number 91 machine. No yellow still. So we are still green, but man, it's a bad night for that Speed Racing Network car. Just really struggling out there on this track.
Yeah, and I can't say I blame any of those guys at Speed Racing Network or any of these guys that have been involved in accidents here tonight, because this track is insane.
Well, especially when you train for one track and you get another, or you train even for one time frame and you get another. Even the fact that we were just a little bit late tonight can throw somebody off their game. Oh, and we do have a yellow flag out there on the track right now. Let's see if we can figure out what happened. It looks like Danny Dow and Tim Hendry both involved in a wreck, so let's go back and find out.
I will say, I just watched the replay myself, and you hate to see this for the 07 of Tim Hendry. A little bit of contact, going to be slow into the corner. Daniel Dow getting in there on his normal line. Wasn't anticipating the checkup from the Hudson Hornet. Going to make contact with that 07, and we saw it a few times, the 2, as it should be shown on screen. He's not actually the 21, but the 2 and the 07 made contact in a few different races this season, so you hate to see that. Nothing personal there, just wrong place, wrong time for both of those machines, Sean.
And if we go back and take a look, let's see if we can see a different view and just watch the 07. He gets a little loose, it looks like.
Yeah, and that was my biggest thing watching it the first time. You know, realistically, I know Tim Hendry sees himself as a playoff driver and probably hoped that Danny wouldn't have drove it in there like that, but there was nothing that he could do. You know, That 07 was loose entering the corner, obviously much slower than the 2 was. 21 shown on the car, but again, that is the driver of the 2 machine, so nothing really that he can do, though. Just kind of hanging on.
Well, man, that was a bad deal for Oscar Jensen. He had a 2.5-second lead. He had completely gotten rid of everybody behind him. But this is going to give a few of these drivers a chance to get in there and possibly get some damage repaired. Benjamin D is in the pits right now.
That was what I was getting ready to say, Sean. I'm really, really surprised right now. Only 11 cars on the lead lap, so that's going to be huge. But Benjamin D going to be the 10th of those cars versus second place with likely only 3 or 4 laps when we go back green here. Not really sure the decision to pit there was all that great because he was going to have some easy stage points. Now giving those up to the guys behind him, going to have to race his way back through. Just looking at his pit time there, minute 17, so likely going to be damage repair for that 97 machine yet again.
Well, he was in the wall multiple times on that last run, and so not only does he need to get that damage repaired, but he needs to make a change somehow, some way.
Yeah, that car was just, like I said, on eggshells for him and not really where he wanted it to be in regards to, the rest of the leaders. A lot of lap cars now making their way down, mostly Speed Racing Network drivers, unfortunately, wanted to see a better night for them. But, Sean, not a lot of those Speed Racing Network drivers down there having a good night. All of them beat up and banged on a little bit, no matter which one you look at. So hopefully able to turn it around for the remainder of the race here. Still got over almost 3/4 of a race remaining. Hopefully they'll be able to turn that around.
That's right. This is one of those longer races, and so maybe that's part of why Benjamin D was pitting there. He's not going to worry about this stage. He is more concerned about the future stages and possibly even the win later on. He just wanted to stay on the lead lap there.
Yeah, and that could be huge too. If the car's not handling right, you're slowing off the pace. Obviously, you want to get it fixed as quick as possible. But again, I know I've talked about him a lot tonight. The guy standing out to me right now, the driver in 4th, the freshest tires among the top 5, it's going to be Kendall LeBron, the driver of that 28 machine, pitted on lap 54 versus about 48 to 47 for the guys in front of him. So about 6 or 7 laps newer tires than the rest of those guys. Obviously needing a big race here. Only right now 5 points to the good, going to be 6 with the lap led. As we talked about it, though, 2 laps led on the season and more than that led here tonight. 1 win Pocono doesn't take away from his 3 top 5s and his 7 top 10s. However, he's showing tonight that he came in to Darlington and beyond, to the remainder of the 9 races after this. He's ready to playoff race, Sean.
Yes, he is, and this is the best time to peak out here in the playoffs. I mean, get through this first round, and you just never know what's going to happen after that, because after the first round, it cuts it down a little bit more. A few more guys make mistakes. You never know. You could find yourself in the final round pretty quickly.
Yeah, and that's really, what it's going to come down to. The round of 16 here, I know we haven't really talked about it a whole lot. The 3 races in the round of 16 going to be Darlington tonight, Richmond next week, and Bristol following that. So I know a lot of guys have it in their mind that, hey, we've got 2 more races. We want to be okay here. But, Sean, I almost feel with the outlook that as of that, it will be okay. Really kind of a bad outlook to have for drivers such as Timothy Latham right now having arguably his worst race of the season. Usually don't see him into trouble this early. Do you really want to wait until next week, or do you try to do it all here tonight?
No, I mean, honestly, I think you try to get as much done tonight as you possibly can, because you just never know what's going to happen the next 2 weeks. And so if you have a shot, take your shot.
Yeah, and short track Rubbin's racing elbow to elbow, elbows up. We'll see what happens in those 2 short tracks that we have in Richmond and Bristol. But right now, the pace car is going to leave us for a little while. Only about 3 or 4 laps. Well, I thought, nope, just on the backstretch. It looks like I was a little off there. Not used to the pit road being on the opposite side of the start-finish line. That kind of threw me for a loop. But we see down there the makeshift pit road. Obviously, no war wagons among the pit road that's down there, but all the pit boxes are going to be on the front stretch.
All right, well, here we go. Oscar Jensen takes the restart. Dakota Jorgensen on his outside. And Oscar looks like he's going to clear Dakota. And he's going to try to pull away as much as he possibly can. He's going to try to get this stage, but Dakota is going to go to his inside and try to put some pressure on him.
I will tell you, as we get down here into turn 3, I want to retract my previous statement because here comes the 97 back in 5th. New tires on the car likely. He's going to move almost into 4th. Man, he's pushing the issue. Oscar's got to be, he's going to get into Kendall LeBron. The 24 making contact with the 28. He's going to get hit from both sides there. But Oscar trying to run off and leave these guys. I believe just 2 to go this time by before the stage break.
And Oscar's not going to put any doubt on this at all. He's running a really fast line right now. He knows a pit stop is coming up, so there's no point in saving those tires right now. Get after it, Oscar.
Yeah, and I'd certainly say that's a great idea right now because that 97 machine restarted in the 10th position, I do believe, but right now up to 3rd and closing on the 8 and the 51 in front of them. So realistically, Oscar doesn't really have a choice but to run it. Man, the gap that he closes in 3. They're both in the wall, and we're going to come out of turn number 4. Benjamin's there. Just the high line going to do the favor to those 2 cars.
And we haven't talked about this really that much, but Justin Boyle's up there in 2nd position. Now back to 3rd.
This is going to be a great battle into turn 3 here, Sean, because Benjamin has been able to drive it in so much deeper. And, Oscar's going to take the defensive line. Benjamin slides, but he's going to go by, and he's going to win stage 1. I need to retract the statement that I said a moment ago because certainly Benjamin proved me wrong.
What an amazing finish to that first stage. The yellow has not come out. There it goes. Now the yellow comes out. I thought maybe there may have been a mistake on the track and maybe they were still going. But Benjamin D with an incredible first stage coming back and taking that stage victory.
Let's see here, just looking down the list, Sean. Kind of crazy for the restart and the run by the driver of that 97 machine.
Well, Oscar Jensen got up into the wall, and Benjamin D just took full advantage of that. And Zach York into the chat right now saying, "Attaboy, Ben."
Some guys down there on the racetrack on the opposite end of that, though, Zach, not really happy with the way that 97 drove, but I don't hold him accountable one single bit. Man, you got those new tires and you got to go for it. So definitely a great drive for him.
Well, you can see he's still got a lot of rubbing up on there, up on that car. And but yeah, once Oscar Jensen got up into the wall, it was Benjamin D's to take, and he took it.
I think he knew exactly what he wanted to do there, and I questioned it. So for you, Benjamin D, I want to apologize when you watch this thing back because you made me hush real quick, buddy.
Well, tell you what, let's see if we can get him in the booth, and you can apologize to him right now.
Yeah, let's definitely do that. I believe I owe him one after that one.
All right, I'll let you take it away.
Benjamin D, this is Sean and Brandon Browning in the booth, buddy. First, before we even get into this interview, I want to apologize to you. And I know that's going to sound weird. I questioned the strategy. I questioned the pit stop there, but obviously you shut me up real quick to drive back through the field to first place. Buddy, how did that car feel on those last couple of laps there?
Well, it did feel like it was on rails. I understand that you're questioning the strategy. I was kind of questioning it myself too. Without revealing too many details, hopefully it'll balance itself out. You know, I do expect to lose positions. We were kind of going for stage points there, which we got. But I am expecting to lose positions, obviously. You know, people got fresher tires. But, you know, I'm glad I got the stage points. You know, understand Oscar's a little upset that I moved him out of the way, which, you know, he did throw a block down there, granted. But, you know, I mean, I wanted the stage points. I had the fresher tires, so I got to do what I do.
I certainly understand that. I saw it live and knew he wasn't going to be happy, but just as I told Sean here in the broadcast of viewers at home as well, I agree with you, man. He knew you was coming. You had to run, and obviously doing all he could to hold on to the stage. But how do you prepare here? Obviously, the 10 stage points for winning that stage is going to play huge. But are you prepared, a strategy in mind as to how you're going to get it done throughout the remainder of the stage 2 and stage 3?
Yes, we do have one. We just start a stage 2. We're just going to race until the tires take over, which could be sooner, could be later. I don't know, but we're gonna have to see about that. But I'm confident in the strategy for the rest of the race. I'm confident that's going to play out really well for us. So,
well, Benjamin D. So look beyond this race a little bit. You have Timothy Latham 15 laps down right now. You have Zach York, who's your teammate, but he's out of the race right now. You have a lot of these guys that are so high up on the list, and now they are either out of the race or far, far behind. What does that do for your mentality going forward?
That's a really positive mentality, at least from a race standpoint. The one guy left I have to worry about is Oscar, and right now he's a bit fired up at me, so we're going to see how that plays out. But yeah, what happened to Zach was really unfortunate. It's just technical failures, stuff that probably wouldn't happen in real life. But technology happens.
Yes, it does.
That was a wise quote that I heard all the time from our good buddy Josh Medlock. He's, technology happens. So I see that Zach York did just reconnect. Maybe going to see him making some laps, some spots to gain there with a couple other guys having a little bit of issues. But Ben, we'll go ahead and get you back down in your chat, buddy. Let you do your thing. Good luck throughout the remainder of this, and we'll see if we catch you at the end in Victory Lane.
10-4, guys. Thank you very much.
All right, Benjamin D with the first stage win. And yeah, people are always going to get upset when they don't get the stage win. But we did see on live camera there, Oscar Jensen was up in the wall a little bit. So not really sure what's going on as far as, and we don't see everything here in the booth, obviously. But you got to get the win when you can get the win.
Yeah, and that's, I heard some comments made by Oscar there, a little displeased with the bumping that went on in turn 3. But as you said, Sean, he didn't really defend the lead. He knew Benjamin was coming. Obviously, putting it in the wall didn't help what he was trying to do and get the stage win. Obviously, kind of threw the block, as you heard from Benjamin D, trying to win the stage. Unfortunately for Oscar, Ben was going for that same stage win, and one more point could make or break anyone at the end of this. So, regular season, we might have saw that be okay, but it didn't fly here in stage 1, and I think it's going to get a little amped up as we move along. Once we get back green flag racing, I'll kind of update you on the stage points and the way that I show here each driver should be.
All right, well, we got Benjamin D up front, Dakota Jorgensen on his outside, Justin Boyles, who, again, is one of those that isn't always right all the way up at the front, but he's always somewhere lurking around, and right now he is lurking towards the lead. And then you have Ted Pullen, crowd favorite, up in 4th position right now.
Yeah, man, it's about to get crazy. Stage 2 playoff race number 1 about to begin as we make our way to lose the pace car for a few more laps here. Benjamin D trying to get these guys ready. Justin Boyles up on the bumper, showing that Benjamin D machine wasn't ready, though. Benjamin takes off with a great restart. Justin Boyles was oh so ready, but when push comes to shove, the 97 car rockets off to the lead. A little bit of a change up front. We see Oscar back now in the 8th position. Minute 29 on the pit stop for him. But here comes Dakota Jorgensen in the 24, looking to the inside of the leader yet again. Oh, man. Doesn't have the grip down low right now. May go under fire to the 8 car and the 54 behind him. But Benjamin D picking up where he left off before he got in the wall early in stage 1, back out front, trying to show these guys the way around this racetrack. Justin Boyles makes his way in the 8 car back to 2nd place, lurking for the lead if Benjamin gets loose, and maybe trying to run him down here. Maybe going to be calm enough now, Sean. If I'm not mistaken, don't hold me to this 100%, but I'm showing Benjamin D going to gain 10 stage points from that. Oscar Jensen with 9. Justin Boyles with 8, and mostly top 8 drivers gaining stage points there to move themselves up in position. But a couple of guys down near the cut line that I want to touch on. Ted Pullen in the 54 going to gain 4 stage points coming out of that one, so that's going to help him. And Mark Kuda, one of the lone guys outside of the playoffs coming in here, going to gain 3 stage points for his finish in stage 1. Justin Boyles, though, taking the lead on the inside. Dakota Jorgensen trying to follow him. Justin trying to get himself another stage point. But, oh, there's contact between the 97 and the 24.
And that will bring out a caution. Huge contact there. And that is why you get the win when you can get the win, because now those 2 cars are going to be heavily damaged. Let's go back and find out what happened on a rec replay. You can see just not enough room for both cars to get through. And Jorgensen takes a big ride. Oh, huge hit!
Shouldn't be a lot of damage for the 49 we saw drive under the 24. Sean, if possible, though, can we go back and see that from the far chase view? Because I heard Dakota voice his displeasure with the 97, but I don't think the 97 could have went any further right here as we come off the corner.
We are about to find out. And again, this track is just so hard to deal with. But yeah, right now the 97's almost in the wall. Not really sure where he's supposed to go there.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, at the moment it seems the way it seems for the 24 car, but I will say not much at all room he could have went to the right there. Tough for Flashpoint, though. If you're Justin Boyles, are you worried? Your teammates have found trouble early.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to be worried. And that was a rec replay. You kind of have to be worried if your teammate's not out there. But Justin Boyles right now leading this race under caution. And now the question is, does everybody pit?
Yeah, that's going to be the call. And most of those guys saw their way to pit road on lap 82. Right now, just at 92. So 10 laps, and most of those were going to be under caution. So not sure here. I know PJ Engelken is going to go by the pace car there. Just as I said, for the Cornells, for the Chambers, for the Pullens, and all of the fans, right now, Ted Pullen sitting in second place, avoiding the trouble. Just as I said, if he keeps being right there, not many drivers left on the lead lap here that haven't got into issues, but one you could certainly look to is that 54 machine, Sean. Ted Pullen has avoided it all so far, and that's going to be huge if he can continue that. I know we're just closing in on 100 laps, but can he do it?
Well, with all the wrecking going on out there, really it's just survive at this point. And right now he is surviving just fine. We have currently 10 cars on the lead lap right now. No, I'm sorry. Take that back. 9 cars. I apologize. 9 cars on the lead lap right now.
Darlington, the lady in black, too tough to tame, taking some names. She's not been friendly to the playoff drivers, and as we said before, just 3 guys not inside the playoffs that are in this race. And after the hard hit into the 24 car, I think we may have lost one of them on the racing track. That's going to be Thomas Rutherford, I do believe, that had quite a bit of damage. But, man, not really what I predicted Darlington to be so far, Sean.
Man, these are some of the best drivers on iRacing. And when a track can take out so many great drivers like this, you have to kind of worry about that track if it's on your schedule in your league.
Yeah, and if you weren't concerned here and now, you should be. I mean, I'm going to tell you that this is going to be huge for playoff points, and I'm just trying to calculate a little bit of those right now and see where we are. But, Sean, it's getting crazy.
It's getting fun out there. And so we have Dana Marie Chambers out there saying, go Pullen. And then Patrick York saying, go Flying Arrows. And so Flying Arrows might have some trouble there because Ben D had to come down to the pits. He's still in the lead lap, but he is currently showing in 8th.
Yeah, and certainly Zach was able to make it back into this thing. And so glad for him because, man, there's a lot to be decided here tonight. I know, as we said, 2 more races before we make cuts, but if the next 2 are anything like this one, anything could happen.
That's right. And we're going to a short track next, so you just never know what's going to happen on a short track. I always like to call those the wild cards because with those cars so close together on such a small track, you just never know when somebody's going to hit you.
That is for sure. And honestly, just Darlington being the track that it is, 1.36 miles here, so underneath a mile and a half, but it's almost driven like a short track tonight.
It really has. There's been a lot of banging out there, and more than anything, up into the wall. And so a little bit later on in each of these tire runs, they are finding it very difficult to maintain speed in those corners.
Yeah, and I think that's going to get only worse and not better as we move forward.
All right, so let's go back through here, the top 5 or 6. So Justin Boyle's up in first. Ted Pullen, again, crowd favorite, up in second. Kendall LeVron, he's kind of been up towards the front all race this race. Got a few laps led in a little bit earlier. Chad Gunning's been back in fourth. And Mark Kuda, somebody that's kind of down by that cut line, up in 5th place right now.
Yeah, and just what I'm looking at here, Mark Kuda, stage points, going to be something as a topic after we go green. Sean, if you don't mind, get us going this time, buddy.
Absolutely. So we got Justin Boyles there on the inside. He is going to control this restart once we get around turns 3 and 4. Look for him to try to play a game here, and not a bad game, but just a game to kind of lull people to sleep so he can get a little bit of a lead. Pace car drops off, and there goes Justin Boyles, and look at how he played that. He jumps out front, but then he just loses all momentum. I'm not sure what happened there, but Ted Pullen goes to the outside and takes the lead.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to see for the crowd favorite. Going to take the lead here and try to run away with this. One more turn before he checks off a bonus point, and it's going to be ever so huge. I just got to his name and trying to update the standings, and about to add one more to it here. Got some good news coming for all the Ted Pullen fans. There it is, +1 for Ted Pullen.
And sometimes that's all it takes is that +1 to make it into the next round. So Ted Pullen doing everything he can to move up the leaderboard in those overall standings. But right now, sitting out front by over half a second over LeBron after a disastrous restart by Justin Boyles.
Yeah, and honestly do wonder what happened to that Justin Boyles machine, the 8 car. But as we said, his 2 teammates have found the trouble, disaster, if you will, here tonight. So hopefully able to rebound. Now I'm going to kind of update the guys near the bottom. This is just solely stage points and laps led. Now this is not 100% concrete. This is just the way I'm viewing it right now. And of course, we'll try to do the updates, and Boyles will get the updates in the points as we move along. But right now, Ted Pullen come into this race just +1 on the leaderboards as far as the chase goes, Sean. Right now, he's going to jump ship all the way up to 9th, I do believe. So Ted Pullen pulling out all the numbers that he needed to pull out to try to make the next round. So a couple of guys, the 77 come in. That's going to be Mark Kuda. He come in 0. He was out. Coming in, he's got 3 stage points so far, so that's going to move him ahead of a few guys there. Could be huge. Kendall LeVron putting the pressure back on, though, knows what he needs to do. Already had a great start to this race. Ted's going to say, you know what? I've led my lap. We've still got 155. Go ahead and take that outside, Kendall. Do what you got to do, buddy.
Man, this is amazing. You got 3 guys up front here that really haven't led a ton of laps. Now, Justin Boyle's been up front for a little while, but these other 2 guys have not led very many laps at all, and they are the ones leading this race.
Yeah, and the one thing that you have to look at if you're any of these drivers, and we said coming in, if you're any of the drivers in the top 3 or 4, but now, after we've seen some issues, if you're a driver in the playoffs, you have to be concerned about this 28 car who showed the speed, Kendall LeVron. If he marks a win here, he goes straight to the top of the leaderboard. He's not worried about points for round 1, Sean.
No, he wants the big points at the end. He's going to try to keep him out of there. In the chat right now, Thomas Rutherford saying that sun on the back stretch is awesome. And so Thomas Rutherford out of the race right now. I think his week is over. Oh, Justin Boyle's up in the wall.
Justin wants so desperately to lead this thing and showing that he did get his bonus point for leading a lap, but he wants around these guys. We saw the chat light up there. I'm just looking back down at right now. Marianne Cornell, Dana Marie Chambers really showing their drivers some love. He's going to slide back to the third spot right now, but just as you heard Sean say, one of the drivers ahead of him, Justin Boyle, is going to find the outside wall. So still a lot of great methodical stage racing from Ted Pullen right now. I'm sure, not 100%, but I'm sure Mike's somewhere in his ear saying, hey, bud, these guys are coming. Most of the contact has been for the leaders. Get out of the way and just let them go for now. And nice strategy. But yes, Thomas Rutherford, the sun on the backstretch is awesome. You're exactly right. A beautiful, beautiful sunset we see over there as we transition tonight. I want to bounce up a little bit. Arnold Setzer, that's our friend Danny Setzer out there, said, let's go Dow, get that car fixed and get back up there and steal this race. And right now, Danny, that could be done by anyone.
Well, Danny currently showing about 14 laps down, so there's going to be a lot of damage out there for him to get back into this race. But currently up front, Kendall LeBron about to get up there and lap Danny Dow at this pace. Justin Boyle's trying desperately to catch him, but LeBron is pulling away.
I will say, in the defense of the 28 machine, Kendall LeBron, probably not a favorite of a lot of guys' eyes. But I will say, if you watch that 28 machine, he's not afraid to put it right up against that outside wall in each of the corners and just drive that thing off into the sunset. No pun intended, but better be worried about the 51 car, who's already climbed his way back up to third, and he's going to be coming to reclaim his lead. If you're Kendall, do you fight him or do you let him go?
You know, I think that Kendall is probably going to roll the dice here. I mean, he's playing on house money already, so I think he just keeps on going the way he's going and pushes that car.
I think prior to Pocono, I don't know that anyone would have said, hey, Kendall LeBron's going to win this race. Obviously wasn't the way he wanted to win it. We heard that in his interview after that thing. A couple of engine failures allowed him to steal that one, but certainly right now he's showing that he deserved to be in the playoffs, and he's going to do anything he can to stay there, kind of gapping the 8 car behind him a little ways, but looks like, just want to look at the last lap time. Fastest car on the racetrack going to be Oscar Jensen in third. Actually, Boyle's a little faster than our leader, Kendall LeBron, but I will say Oscar Jensen a whole lot faster than those guys, still on the same set of tires, as Oscar did not pit for tires there.
All right, and so just to update everybody, so Ted Pullen back in 7th place right now, about to go back to 8th place right now. He's just kind of biding his time back there. I don't think there's anything wrong with the car. I think he's just biding his time. He got his lead lap, and now he's just going to ride around for a little while before he pushes it again.
Yeah, and especially with these guys being crazy and getting involved in everything. Guys down by the cut line right now, obviously the one with the most to gain as we run, Kendall LeBron. He's leading. Still yet, Ted Pullen, as long as he stays on the lead lap here, will gain at least 1 stage point late in this stage. Only 9 cars still showing on the lead lap. And if he doesn't pick up the pace, PJ Engelkens will lose his lead lap spot right now. However, PJ Engelkens also one of the drivers. No, he was one of the drivers that just missed the cut. So that would be the 4th driver not in the playoffs here.
And so now we only have 9 cars on the lead lap. PJ Engelkens possibly about to go a lap down. So we're going to be 8 cars on the lead lap. And in 8th place right now is Ted Pullen. So still another half of the track to go to get to him. So I think everybody's just kind of riding around right now, biding their time. We still have 50 laps to go in this stage. No reason to push right now.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, because I just looked back up front at the top 3, Kendall LeBron, Justin Boyles, and Oscar Jensen. That last time, the only driver running the fast lap right now was Kendall. Behind him, Boyles was the 3rd fastest, and Oscar Jensen is the 2nd fastest. Actually, technically, Richard Springer ran the fastest lap among the top, or 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So I think you're exactly right, Sean. I think we're just seeing a lot of guys bide their time.
And looking at the 21 of Richard Springer right now, someone that's not in the playoffs, but he's out there in 4th place right now.
Yeah, one of those drivers really in here that doesn't have a whole lot to lose. He could come out here and win this thing, and ain't nobody going to gain from it but him. Don't really get to talk about Richard a whole lot. He's been one of those silent drivers that show up every week and just run their own race. They're not worried about what Timothy Latham, Oscar Jensen, those guys are doing. You know, he's just logging laps and seeing if he can steal something here tonight.
And you can see the gap from Kendall LeBron back to Justin Boyles, 2 seconds now. Now, Justin is starting to catch him a little bit, but I think that's just kind of part of what's going on out here on the track where Kendall's, he probably thinks that he needs to back off a little bit, doesn't want to burn up his tires too fast.
I will say, again, want to update you on the top 3 lap times last time. A 29.6 for LeBron, a 30.21 for Boyles, 30.04 for Oscar, and a 29.62 for Richard Springer the last time by. So certainly, if you're Kendall, you know the lead, staying about the same, Boyles catching you a little bit. You have to think, save the tires. Save some fuel. We don't know what their fuel looks like. I wouldn't imagine that they're going to make it to the end. Sean, what was our race window for this race? Or you have that in front of you?
I do not have that in front of me right now, but I have to imagine that the tires are going to run out long before the gas does.
Yeah, and if this continues true to what we've seen, oh man, some blinking going on for a couple of drivers. I think it was going to be Jason Tripp blinking. I heard Timothy say he was right behind him. So right in front of our leader, Kendall LeBron. Not what you want to see. A couple of cars getting close to coming together, some blinking going on, but was able to get by safely.
Well, Justin Boyles is one of those guys that he is not relaxing right now. He was down 2 seconds. Now he's only down 1 second. So he is going to try to catch LeBron, it looks like, but now LeBron's starting to pull away again.
I'm surprised this 28 car has kept the pace that he's kept, because I know Justin's still running pretty hard, really low 30-second lap times, and Oscar sub 30-second lap times. So Kendall kind of has a decision to make. Do I save the tires? Do I go ahead and let these guys catch me, or do I just run it? You know, do you run it for what it's worth? Mark Kuda, I'm about to move up another spot back in the pack. I know our leaders are kind of spread out. I'm going to update you on Mark Kuda, looking to make the pass on Benjamin D for what will be 6th position, but Benjamin going to hold it for the moment. Back out front, though, Kendall.
Into the wall. And again, another mistake by a leader.
I tell you right now, if I'm picking a strategy, I don't need to put them in a hat and pull them out. I got to say, I like Ted Pullen's strategy. He's back there just taking it easy. He might even be back there sipping some orange juice or some soda. Not really worried about these guys up front. He's just keeping that 54 machine. Likely a Pepsi. Knowing Ted Pullen, a big Pepsi supporter, obviously runs it on the car every week. But Justin Boyles. Oh, got a little bit loose coming up pit road, but going to make his way down for a green flag stop. Sean, I guess that kind of answers the question. Pitted on the same lap 82, as much of our leaders did. The only one I'm showing in the top on the lead lap right now, we'll say on 91, is going to be Benjamin D, pitted for damage repair. So, but as I was saying, Ted Pullen, beautiful strategy. Not really worried about anything but his own race car right now.
Well, now with Justin Boyles going into the pits, Kendall has opened up a 4-second lead on Oscar Jensen. And, of course, Justin going into the pits is going to help his tire situation out a bit, hopefully, for him. He's hoping this thing goes green for a little while longer so he can get out there and start catching up a little bit.
Well, if you're Justin Boyles, yeah, I was going to say just riding along with Benjamin D yet again. I was hoping he was going to let that 77 machine go, because that could have been not what the driver of the 8 machine wanted to see there as they tried to duke it out on old tires for position. But you're exactly right. And the one thing I will say, if you're Kendall LeBron, I hate to say it, I've been wrong before. I've been wrong in this race, but I think you're out there a little too long. I don't think you want Boyles to run that many laps, because as it cycles through for Kendall, when it does cycle through, these are fast, clean lap times that Justin Boyles is going to be running here. We'll see his next lap. Obviously, this one was his pit lap. We'll see what he's running in comparison to the driver of the 28 out in the lead, because all that's going to do is close up the gap, Sean.
And in the chat right now, Thomas Rutherford asks, what lap does stage 2 end? It ends on lap 160. We still have 37 laps to go.
Yeah, so almost going to make a full gas run here on this cycle. We do have Benjamin D, another leader on pit road. Just waiting. So that time by, Justin Boyles ran a 28.43 to a 30.28 for Kendall LeBron. So just under 2 seconds faster. If Kendall doesn't find his way to pit road soon, he's going to be not even able to stare at the rear end of that 8 car, Sean.
But again, this could be one of those things where Kendall is playing the long game, where he wants.
There's a caution.
Oh no!
PJ Engelkens. I was sitting on pit road and saw PJ Engelkens spinning and spinning and spinning. Now that, looked like contact with Justin Boyles is what it sounded like for PJ, but that's going to change things for Benjamin D. For Justin Boyles. Actually, maybe Justin was able to get his lap back, but Benjamin, I do believe, is going to be caught a lap down from that. We'll take a look at it with our rec replay here. Sean, walk us through it.
So, looks like PJ Engelkens in the 93. I mean, he was going slow, and Justin Boyles, who just came off a pit road, fresh car, ran into the back of him. So that's going to give some damage to Justin.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see if you're Justin Boyles in that 8 machine. So much speed difference between him and the 93. I heard him say, hey, PJ, I didn't realize my closing rate was that fast in a roundabout way. And you see here just late decision by the 93, late decision by the 8 car. And unfortunately, contact made amongst the two of them, Sean.
That's right. And so that was your rec replay. And now, jumping into the pits, Kendall LeBron.
Yeah, that couldn't have worked better if you're the driver of the 28. I do just want to look here. I don't know.
Justin Boyles is still technically on the lead lap. But let's see who comes out first. Ted Pullen's still on the track. But Kendall LeBron, I believe, is going to be the first car out. So that worked out really, really well for him.
Yes, it did. And the only thing you could have hoped more if you're Kendall LeBron is that you caught the 51 car on pit road with that 8 car. Boyles, as you said, was on the lead lap. However, Benjamin D was not. Benjamin D so far been trapped a lap down. Likely, though, may get a wave around here. With everyone pitting, Ted Pullen now making his way down pit road. Like the strategy there by the 54 car, yet again, waiting, letting all these guys pit, get it sorted out, and then he wants to pit, go to the back, stay away from all the chaos that we've seen amongst our leaders, Sean.
And so Kendall LeBron, man, playing his cards right here. So we're not in Las Vegas, but he is gambling and he's winning.
Yeah, and that's going to be huge. You know, I don't want to say too much and think about it too awful lot, Sean, but obviously if this race remains the high that it has been for Kendall LeBron, it's got to get scary down around the cut line, because I know coming in, Kendall wasn't that many points to the good, showing looks like just 5 to the good coming in. So right now, that's another driver seemingly trying to slip out of reach of our playoff runners beyond him, trying to walk away, make the round of 12 and beyond as we continue on.
Well, right now, in the catbird seat, as far as the points overall, I believe that's going to be Oscar Jensen, and because he is up in second place right now. He does have 4 wins on the season. He's second place in points, and the guy that's first place in points is currently showing, let's see, about 21 laps down. So Oscar Jensen has a great car out there right now, and he has a great opportunity to really put some points on the board.
Yeah, and if my stage point math is correct, and I'm not going to guarantee you that it is, I'm showing on my end Timothy Latham right now positive 50. Now, this is excluding finishing and stage 2. This is just with stage 1. Timothy Latham positive 54. I come in 53, but led a lap. Oscar Jensen going to be at 47 right now, positive 47. So not that many points behind Timothy Latham. Might actually overtake the 5 car, depending on how the stage plays out in stage 2. Of course, likely will overtake him by the end of the race. Unfortunate for Timothy Latham to be that many laps down, Sean.
Just a tough break for Latham really early in this race. Also a tough break for Zach York with his roommate turning off the light, which also turned off his Oculus his Oculus there. So definitely needs a new roommate, because that is going to drop him back in the standings.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And I'll be honest with you, just looking down through here right now, Kendall LeBron came in positive 5, has already accrued about 8 stage points, Sean. So if he's able to get some more stage points here, maybe leapfrogging a few more of those drivers around him, trying to solidify his guarantee into the next round.
Well, as long as he keeps it clean, he is going to get a few stage points either way, because there are only 8 cars on the lead lap right now.
Yeah, and I think that's really what you have to hope for here. I know you got a fast 28 machine. You know the 51's fast. You know a couple of those guys behind you are fast. But don't let the whole race slip away from you just because you want to run with the leaders here.
So as we're coming around, so we are going to get Oscar Jensen on the outside, Kendall LeBron on the inside, Chad Gunningsman back there in third, and Mark Kuda, someone that's outside of the cut or just barely inside of the cut right before we started this race. He is up in fourth.
Yeah, I was showing right at outside -0 on the cut line, but Kendall LeBron nailed the restart yet again, and he's got clear of the 51, trying to get away from him yet again. New tires for everyone, but Kendall wants to show that his car is supreme to some of the others. Back in the pack cars making their way around other cars that are slower, but out front, the front 5 or 6, single file, with nothing to worry about right now.
Kendall LeBron is just on his game today. He has led more laps tonight than he had the entire regular season, and he is not letting up.
No, and the one driver that I think has just realized that more than anything is the guy in the 51 machine. Oh, Greg Klein, back in the pack, finding his way into the wall. Not sure if we'll see a caution for that, but he was ping-ponging off of a few things, pinballing, if you will. Looks like he's got it gathered up. Damage nonetheless.
Oscar Jensen to the lead. It looks like Kendall LeBron maybe got into the wall there. Chad Gunningsman going to take second.
Yeah, not really sure. I'll go back and try to check what's going on with the 28 car, maybe see if he got into the wall a little bit real quick, Sean. He certainly did. About the middle of 3 and 4, I do believe. He's going to drag the wall for a brief second. Go from about 157 down to about 133. So a big drop for Kendall LeBron, and obviously mistakes as a leader is what we've seen a lot of here tonight.
Dennis Ansman in the chat right now saying, Kendall, get it. And, man, he just cooked it in there a little bit too hard. And hopefully it didn't do too much damage to that car, because he had this race under control.
Yeah, that's been one fast hot rod in the number 29 or 28 machine, sorry. Oh, he's going to get loose into the corner again, so hopefully he didn't make too many changes. Richard Springer in the 21 coming underneath. See if Kendall just lets him go here. Got to gather it. Don't want to push too hard, Kendall. Yep, just going to let the 21 go by ever so easily. There he is. The next man up, Ted Pullen, as we're closing down to the final 25 laps of this stage. Ted is starting to surface to the front again. Oh, contact between the 28 and the 21.
Brandon, this is the complete opposite of what we thought this race was going to be.
Yeah, and had you asked me, I know we made our picks of Benjamin D and Oscar Jensen, obviously front runners most of the season. A lot of guys put their emphasis on those two, as well as Zach York making his return. Timothy Latham in the 5, Justin Boyles in the 8, but realistically, ebbs and flows of this race have kind of changed what you would look at, hasn't it, Sean?
It really has. And some of these guys that we really, I mean, I don't want to say we didn't give them a chance, but they were so far down the leaderboard, we weren't considering them for this race, but they are really showing that they should be up there. But Oscar Jensen, who's been up front a lot of this season, he is starting to pull away.
Yeah, and Oscar right now, you know, I know there's still over 100 laps to go in this thing, but if you're Oscar, you have to be smiling from ear to ear. You have to be happy in a way. Obviously, you don't want to wish bad upon anyone, but you have to be happy with the way the 5 car is running so far. He's 20 laps down. Right now, currently showing somewhere back beyond 14th. That's as far as my leaderboard is pulled up on screen, but you know the guy, actually in 15th is going to be Timothy Latham, but you know the guy that was the crowd favorite, was the odds-on favorite, and the favorite of a lot of guys that you're racing with, struggling in the first race of the playoffs.
And as Jensen just starts to pull farther and farther away, so he's almost up to a second over Gunningsman. And does Gunningsman just let him go here? I mean, 22 laps until the stage. I know there's a lot that can happen. Oh, it looks like, I believe that was Zach York up into the wall a little bit there. So he's back out on track. He is definitely 68 laps down, but he's still out there driving around, but he got a little bit loose.
Proving the point nonetheless as he's closing in on our 4th place driver. I saw him earlier. I think he got 2 or 3 down the backstretch, was able to pick off a couple positions. Not racing for position, but showing that 49 car, was primed and ready to go. He came here late, last-minute entry back into this race, and proven that what could have been, if he didn't have the technical difficulties, could have been the 49 chasing down this 51.
Well, here's what's kind of interesting. So we've got Zach York that's 68 laps down. Timothy Latham right now is 33 laps down and still in the pits. If Zach York just keeps going around and around right here, he has the potential to gain some points on Timothy Latham.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. You want to minimize damage done. And if you're Zach York, as you said, 68 laps down, full speed though, no damage to that 49 other than minor scrapes and bruises from getting into the outside wall, but realistically 10 laps from gaining a spot on Tim Hendry, another 9 laps or so Dakota Jorgensen. So as full speed, obviously going to make better time than even the car is still out there running. Right now, all the way up to about 12th place, Jason Tripp, 22 laps down, off pace, not really running at the speed of the leaders. Jordan Saylor's ahead of him, 18 laps down. So if he continues on, can realistically, Sean, make it just outside of the top 11 if some of these guys continue to have issues.
And that's really all you need. A lot of times you just need luck and you need other people to come back to you instead of necessarily you going up to them. And so, the whole point of this entire race and this entire season is just keep it clean. If you keep it clean, you're going to be up near the front no matter what.
Somebody that didn't just keep it clean, Kendall LeVron, just dragged the wall off of the corner. A little bit of damage to the front end of the 49 as well, who got into him, but man, that was a hard hit for the 28 machine.
Yeah, you can see a lot of damage on that front right side and also on the back as well. So, yeah, he is definitely all up on the wall.
Hopefully he didn't knock the toe out of that 28 machine. But I tell you what, if you're Zach York, you have to keep making these fast-paced laps here because we continue to see issues no matter how you look at it. You know, issues for the 28 now. We've seen Benjamin D have his issues. Seemingly a perfect car, though, for the 51. Maybe got in the wall once or twice, but aside from that, it's been his race to lose. We see Richard Springer in second, maybe get in the wall just a hair, saw some sparks. Justin Boyles taking over the 5th position from Ted Pullen. Ted Pullen, man, I'm telling you guys, he's going to finish great in this race if he just continues to avoid disaster.
And Justin Boyles, who was involved in a wreck just a few minutes ago, now he's up in the wall himself. And so, man, every single time we switch to somebody that get up in the wall, maybe we just need to turn our screen off. front, Oscar Jensen still half a second ahead of Richard Springer, who Richard Springer has 0 to lose right now because he is not in the playoffs. So there is no reason for him to hold back at all, and that could be to his advantage.
Yeah, and that's what I was just saying, as I had to apparently hit the hot key on my keyboard. But, man, Kendall LeBron again in the wall back there, driving so hard, trying to get back to the front here. But, yes, I agree with you, Sean. Richard Springer has actually might want to switch to his camera here because he is about to be on the back bumper of our leader as he continues to cut the time down. Nothing to lose, everything to gain for Richard Springer. And I want to look real quick. I do think Richard Springer right now, I know it's not a main focus of the league or anyone involved, but we do have what's called a Tier 2 playoff, Sean. It's going to be a prize of a butt kicker for the guys not in the playoffs racing among it. And right now, the only driver on the lead lap would put down the list of those Tier 2 playoff drivers, but Richard Springer, Danny Dow, Thomas Rutherford, Rick Webb, Justin D-Reich, PJ Eagleton, and Christopher Kimbry. And if you know what I know, the only driver that even matters in this one so far is the driver of that 21 car, Richard Springer. So maybe trying to win him a butt kicker early here in the playoffs.
And there he goes to the inside of Oscar Jensen. And he's going to try to pull this off. Jason Tripp in front, not sure where he's going to go. So Richard Springer just backs out of it a little bit. He doesn't want to get involved in 3 wide.
Almost a 3-horse race, though, yet again, because Kendall LeBron is right behind the 21 car. So we'll see who comes out the other side of this one here. Jason Tripp going to pull to the left side of the racetrack. Let these guys go. Richard Springer again saying, hey, Oscar, I want to lead. I want a point. And, oh, he's going to almost put it in the wall, trying to take the lead. Oscar back inside as it goes up. Oh,
he hits the wall.
Going to do a little bit of damage to the 51 as the 21 is going to drag the wall. And that's what we've seen tonight, man. Every single time somebody goes to make a pass, there's contact with the wall, the other car, with someone as Oscar's loose off the corner.
And so Kendall LeBron goes into second place right behind Springer. Kendall LeBron really the only one that can get points out of those two for the main playoffs. And so once again, Kendall LeBron playing on house money right now. He is not going to hold back at all. Dennis Ansman out there rooting for him.
I've got to say also, Sean, I agree with Dennis Ansman. I'm a fan of the underdog in most situations, and especially this one here as we come this time. 9 to go before we see the playoff, or stage 2 end, sorry. Kendall LeBron primed and poised in position to try to steal this stage win here. Oscar behind him in third. Kendall hits the wall again.
Kendall LeBron just painting the wall out here.
Yeah, and he's got his Darlington stripe. Now Oscar Jensen destroys the outside wall, Sean. It's insane. Lap 152, and leaders just keep knocking it down time after time. Here we go. We're going to see them get close together. No touching so far. Oh, but they're ever so close if one of them gets loose. Woo-hoo.
And while this is all going on, Springer is a second ahead of all of this with 7 laps to go in the stage.
Yeah, and man, I don't know what to say for these guys. Obviously, right now, if they keep knocking that down, it's eventually going to hurt the car. And again, for our fans out in the chat, Ted Pullen, as long as he keeps it out of the wall and doesn't have anything crazy happen, he's loving this right now with the leaders out in front of him, knocking it down, beating and banging amongst each other and on the outside wall. This one could fall right into his lap.
So he is the last car on the lead lap, but perfect timing because we only have 6 laps to go in this stage. He is probably not going to go a lap down unless, of course, something happens, which we don't hope for, of course. But so he is going to be the last car on that lead lap, and so he's going to gain some seriously needed points.
Yeah, Sean, I want to touch back on something.
Oh, Kendall!
Kendall, he is driving so hard that he doesn't, he doesn't have control of the race car anymore. I mean, he's just pushing it every single lap, and last time by matched the time of our leader. So not really able to gain much, but it looks like this time, I want to be sure, a 30-14 for the leader of Richard Springer, a 30-15 for the second place. Kendall LeBron matched it yet again, Sean.
And while all this is going on up front, just going back a little bit further, so Benjamin D back in 7th place, just ahead of Ted Pullen. And so we still have 8 really phenomenal cars on the lead lap here.
Yeah, and the car just in front of Benjamin D there, the guy that needs points as bad as anyone, up about 14 spots from his starting position. Mark Kuda doing it silently tonight. Everything. Oh, Benjamin on a slide behind him, but doing exactly what he needs to do as well, trying to net those playoff points without too much going on.
But going back up front with 3 laps to go in this stage, Richard Springer, he's about 3/4 of a second ahead of Kendall LeBron. I think that Kendall LeBron is actually okay with being there in 2nd place, especially as bad as his car is handling right now.
Well, I will say, right as you cut to Richard Springer, Kendall LeBron yet again smacked the outside wall. I'm not sure what they've put in the right side reinforcements of that 28 car, but it's doing wonders right now, Sean.
Well, definitely going to need a new paint job after this race.
Update real quick, back in the pack, Zach York ticked off another point, passing Tim Hendry, Sean, and is 2 laps shy of passing Dakota Jorgensen. Now 1 lap. Dakota Jorgensen 67 laps down. Zach York 68. Actually, there it goes. Timing will update. Another point for Zach York on the rebound here as he's going to get by Dakota Jorgensen.
And even more important, only 16 laps behind Timothy Latham.
Going to be coming to the wide flag for stage 2 this time by. They've got to complete it. And Kendall LeBron, we know how hard he's driving that car. He wants to hear stage 2 winner. But, man, he's still got a little bit of work to do to get to the 21 car, who's washing high here. Going to come back down for the run off the corner. Man, we'll see what they are as they're coming this time by to the checkered flag, though. Kendall sails it down into the corner, gaining a lot of time, Sean, but not going to be enough likely to get back.
It'll be Richard Springer bringing home the 2nd stage here at the Tough to Tame 255 at Darlington.
Again, here in just a moment, going to do some updating as the caution falls. See how many points we got this time in stage 2 and who's going to be where and when and why they're there, Sean.
Wait for just a couple minutes. We're going to let these guys get their pit stops in. They have obviously earned it. They've been out there on these tires for about 36 laps. I have a feeling that pretty much everybody will come in. I don't see anybody on the track that wouldn't come in to the pits right now. So we're going to get everybody back up into the pits and get everybody regrouped, and then we will talk to Richard Springer, our stage winner.
It's a lot of shifting and changing going on there, and with my math, once it's completely updated, I do think, Sean, we may have a new points leader for the moment.
Wow, what a huge turn of events.
Mark Kuda, yet again, will say, going to net 5 points from that one. He's positive 8 from stage points right now. Going to do some changing and going to see some crazy things here as we get along as far as where guys are going to fall into this playoffs.
Once again, coming down into the pits, Richard Springer, Kendall LeBron, Oscar Jensen, and like I said, everybody's going to come into the pits. Well, I say everybody. Ted Pullen still out on the track. Greg Edney as well. So Ted Pullen just racking up laps led. Not sure that's going to help too much the rest of this race unless he gets the most laps led, which would require a huge 3rd stage here. But Ted's still out there on the track, so he will inherit the lead. And there he is in the number 54 Pepsi car.
So let me see here right now with my math. 55 positive looking like for Oscar Jensen right now, which, as you know, as a positive 54 Timothy Latham should for the moment make Oscar Jensen our new points leader, Sean.
Amazing that this racetrack can make such a huge difference on the points.
Yeah, and it's still not over yet, but we'll see what happens here. Some changes, man. I'm seeing some that are coming up, and I'm blown away by what's actually happened here in this race, because anything could happen. We knew that, but this wasn't exactly. I wasn't sure that this is what they meant.
What an amazing race so far. Let's see if we can't get our second stage winner in here to kind of talk to him. Not in the playoffs currently, but in the Tier 2 playoffs. Let's see if we can get Richard Springer in here. Richard, Sean, and Brandon up in the booth. How's it going?
Hey, pretty good. I had to get out of the car and go get a drink. I dying of thirst here.
What a great second stage you had there. And, we were talking that you're not currently in the main tier of the playoffs, but the second tier is down there. And I think you're racing for a butt kicker, right?
So I'm an old guy. What's a butt kicker? Is that some kind of...
It's something for your rig. so that's...
We kicked when I was young, but those days are over.
That's excellent. That even reiterates our point. We were saying that you really didn't have much to drive for here tonight, except just getting out there, and so that may be an advantage for you because you don't have to worry about sending it in there deep. So is that something that's helped you tonight?
I just like this track. In fact, I set the thing up for night. I thought to start at 7:30, and now it's getting dark, so it might be pretty good still. I have a little bit of damage. I think I still have like 25 seconds of damage, but I'm pretty good on long tires. Always like this track, so I figured I'd give it a shot. So far, so good.
Well, man, you're doing great out there. We're going to drop you back down into the general chat. I know we're going to get back to racing here in about a lap and a half, but keep it up out there, man. Keep it interesting.
All right, thanks, boys, for broadcasting. I appreciate that. We
all
all
right.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.
buddy.
Good luck, buddy.
All right, so Brandon, what have we learned so far?
The leaders are never safe. Certainly what I've learned.
I agree with that. I've also learned that we cannot be right about anything.
No, that's for sure, man. You never know what's coming, and my mind is blown by the way this race has went so far, Sean.
I agree. Now, up front right now, Chad Gunningsman basically coming back out of nowhere, and now he is going to be up front in the 9 car. And then Mark Kuda, who, again, was just below the cut line at the beginning of this race, will now restart in second.
Yeah, that's crazy to say. I mean, honestly, I'm just finishing up the final few positions of the playoffs as way of the standings are going so far, and a couple of names being shifted to the bottom that weren't there before, Sean.
Well, and you saw Justin Boyles as soon as the one to go signal came up. Justin Boyles got right up on the tail of Chad Gunningsman. He is raring to go. He is in third place right now. This could be his best opportunity. He was up front for a little while, hit the wall, and then also got caught up in some pit strategy as well. So he's kind of had a weird race out there, but he has a chance here to do something with it. But right in front of him, Chad Gunningsman in the number 9 Abruzzi car. He's going to do all he can to keep these guys behind him.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Sean. I don't think he wants to allow some of these guys back up there. Another name, though, as the pace car pulls off, Mark Kuda in second place right now, trying to gain some points himself. But Chad's on the loud pedal, and he is off, bringing us back to green flag racing.
And he's going to jump right out front. Justin Boyles hot on his heels right now. And it looks like Oscar Jensen's going to pull into third. Mark Kuda started off in second, back to fourth place right now. Richard Springer, who was up in first at the end of that stage, in fifth place currently.
So right now, Sean, I want to go down to the bottom of the playoffs, just as I've seen them, as Justin Boyles actually will give it a moment to see what Boyles can do with the leader. see if he can make way around the 9 car, if Chad will allow him to just go for it. Likely not, as we're late into this thing here, under 100 laps now to go. We'll go ahead and step to the playoffs as I was talking. Yeah, I think it's going to calm down for a moment. Right now, the drivers outside, we're going to go about 2 spots up from the cut line. We're going to go to Greg Edney in the 30 car. Right now, only positive 5 into the playoffs. The 0-1 of Philip Loy, positive 2. The 18 of Greg Klein, and the 18 just outside of the cut line, going to be the first driver out right now, Sean. Was showing positive 1, but he's going to be on the outside looking in, as well as Jason Tripp, Jordan Sailors, and Tim Hendry in the 0-7. So right now, Kendall LeBron, though, just on stage points, as I'm showing, positive 22, the biggest gainer of the night points-wise, except for the 51 of Oscar Jensen, who has seemingly taken the points lead from Timothy Latham. Another guy gained some points, come in here underneath the cut line. Mark Kuda, positive 8 based on stages right now, Sean.
And back towards 7th and 8th place, we've got some good racing back there between Mark Kuda, Ted Pullen, and Benjamin D. Benjamin D has been fighting this car all night long with it being loose, and he got a little bit loose a little bit earlier while we were talking about the standings there.
Yeah, and it's become go time for these guys here. We're closing in on just 80 laps to go. You're closing in on 200 laps done shortly after that. So, there was a car smoking. I think that was Richard Springer putting off some smoke. Not sure if he was sliding, but the top 4, 2 of those top 4 are not really who we've imagined to be up here. Justin Boyles and Chad Genningsman, 1 and 2 right now. Obviously, Chad has the lead for now, but Justin wants it. Oh, Justin, he sailed that car into the corner.
He made that look really easy.
This is the part that I think Timothy Latham was wanting to make it to, because as I said, I was fairly certain that those guys had set those cars up for nighttime racing. Those guys being Flashpoint, Justin Boyles, Dakota Jorgensen, Chad Genningsman. And it's showing now, Sean, as they're out front. But here comes Oscar for 2nd place.
And again, people just passing Chad like it's nothing. I'm not sure if that's a long-term strategy for Chad to just let these guys go and see what happens in front of them. But you've got 8 guys on the lead lap right now. So the question has to be, are you satisfied with the top 8 finish and just let people go by and just stay safe? Or do you want to get better?
Yeah, and I think right now with what we've seen, you have to stay safe. Kendall LeBron about to take the 3rd spot from Chad as well. So the 9 car just easing his way back. I do want to say right now, we'll give it a few more seconds. Zach York, negative 68 laps. Timothy Latham, 67 laps down. So Zach York closing in on Timothy Latham. And just 2 laps later, Daniel Dow, negative 65. So Zach York about to make his way lapped down up to about the 14th position, Sean, and capitalizing on what could have been disastrous.
And if anything else happens up in front of him, he could gain a few more spots. There's still time to do that. But if something happens, it needs to happen very quickly for him to do that.
Yeah, he's about to, right now, just showing, as we said, just 79 laps to go this time by. Running out of laps, really, for those guys to get back there. But still yet a few more spots. Jordan Sailors, is 19 down. Jason Tripp, 23 down. Greg Klein, 29. So if those guys fall completely out of the race, we'll see him maybe check off enough laps to get ahead of them. And that's not what you want to see if you're, capitalizing on a bad night by Zach York right now, Sean, because seemingly earlier in this thing, he was down and out. He was falling like a rock to the back, and he's clawing his way out lap by lap.
Well, Brandon, something else that you might this is really interesting. So Timothy Latham was stuck in the pits for a long time. Now he is back out on the track.
Yeah, so he could gain another spot here too. Timothy now 69 laps down behind Zach York. I think maybe saw the way that those two were lining up Both of them, Zach York being 68 laps behind, just 2 short of Daniel Dow, and Timothy Latham 69 laps down, 1 short of Daniel Dow. So I will go, as we ride along with the leaders here, Sean, check the speed difference in those 3 vehicles.
Can't imagine that Timothy's got too much speed right now with that front end missing, and Zach York, I believe he's relatively clean back there. Just had some technical difficulties a little bit earlier, but Justin Boyles and Oscar Jensen up here fighting for the lead. Justin's going to start to pull away a little bit, but Oscar just pulled him right back in a little bit earlier. So maybe a few more laps here. They are going to lap a car. That's the 55 of Jordan Sailors that they are going to lap.
One person that's helping right now is, again, Zach York. That's going to be the 20th lap down for Jordan Sailors. But as you said up front, Justin trying to do the boot scoot and boogie, get away from the 51. Beautiful throwback on the car there. Big Dale Jr., Dale Sr. fan is Justin Boyles. And riding along, I believe, I can't remember the exact year, but obviously seemingly a Dale Jr. knotted paint scheme there for him. Typically used to that car being a Budweiser scheme each and every week, Sean.
Absolutely, and it looks like he hit the wall there again.
That kind of just goes to show how much each and every one of these drivers in the iVCS want to win. They'll knock the wall down, they'll turn left, and just keep going for it. Kendall LeBron, there you see it on our battle box, right dead center of the bottom of your screen. Just half a second now behind Oscar, so Kendall trying to claw his way back forward here. Ted pulling a little bit off speed. Timothy Latham going to get by him. Not really sure what happened back in the pack there, but Ted pulling, allowing Latham to go by. Not sure if he got loose, if he got up out of the groove, or slid. Doesn't look like a lot of damage. Actually, none at all. Looks like to the right side of that 54 car. So been a successful op there. You see a little bit of right front damage, but been a pretty clean race for Ted Pullen. Right now, currently shown in about the 8th spot. So good day for him.
So still on the lead lap, and that's really all that matters right now is just staying on that lead lap. But we got
There
Justin
you
Boyles
see it.
out front.
There you see it right behind him, though, Sean. Nose to tail, bumper to bumper now. Kendall LeBron has caught the 51, and he is trying ever so hard to go up here and wrestle this thing away from Justin Boyles, man. I am so proud of the work that Kendall LeBron has put in here because, you know, even if you're awful, if you're the worst driver on the track at Richmond and Bristol, but you win at Darlington, it doesn't matter, Sean.
Man, if we were in Vegas, then Kendall LeBron would have 101 odds on him before this race began, and now he is up here challenging these leaders.
Got to be at least 4-1 odds now because, I mean, it's crazy. It's really crazy to see him up front running like this because he went from a guy who just wanted clean finishes to make the playoffs, and he accomplished that, Sean. Now he wants playoff wins, he wants playoff points, and he wants to move on into later rounds. I think, in my opinion, the worst thing you can do is be out in the first round of something. You know, you work all year to qualify, and then you're out in the first round. It's a little bit disheartening to be that guy, and Kendall LeBron is doing all he can to make sure that doesn't happen to him. Justin Boyles, though, realistically could care less right now about anyone but himself because he's out front doing what he needs to do. Saw a little pop-up, not really sure what happened with Mark Kuda. I'll go back and take a look, but it does look like there's going to be damage to the 77 machine.
You can see in the background there, that was Jason Tripp getting way loose.
Not really sure why we didn't have a caution there, Sean. I do want to let you know a lot of damage internally, I would imagine, for the 77 machine. He's going to come off the corner, tag the outside wall, tag the inside wall, spin around a few times, and tag it again. So I would imagine that has definitely hurt the race car. Surprised that there was no caution, though.
Let's go back and see if we can see that on a rec replay while we're still under green. So we don't normally do this, but we'd like to kind of see what happened here.
Lots of contacts. going to actually start right there as he tags the
Oh,
wall.
huge hit on the wall.
And he's going to get it again right there. So not really sure why that doesn't bring out a caution, but it did not. Maybe off the racing surface far enough, as this track is wide as can be. That's going to hurt our playoff driver, Mark Kuda, though.
And there he is, still out on the track, still up in 7th place, racing with Ted Pullen there. But not sure how long he's going to be able to last, especially once he gets down into the pits and sees how much damage he has to fix.
Well, I think, honestly, Sean, you see the front end pushed in there a little bit. Hopefully watching the gauges on that car, the oil and water pressure, because I do know anytime you get front end damage such as that starts to creep up, and if your FOV, your field of view, is set too far forward, it's too late before you notice it.
Well, there you can see the gap between first and second and third. Justin Boyle's a second and a half ahead, but Oscar Jensen and Kendall Livron, they are out there still racing around with each other, still very close proximity, and they are gaining right now. I believe that's Greg Klein in front of Justin Boyles right now.
Yeah, and lap traffic going to make all the difference. If Kendall can get clear of the 51 here, looking back.
Oh, almost touched.
Man, that's tight racing. Let's see what happens down here in the corner. Kendall said, hey, bud, I'm just as fast as you are, but he's going to wobble. No love lost there, you see, from the 51, who's saying, hey, coming in on just 60 laps to go here, there's no reason to let you go. We're both playoff racing. So, you might have been able to squeeze that one by if it was Springer just trying to stay out of the way for these playoff drivers. But Oscar Jensen knows that Kendall's fast. He knows that if something happens with the 8 car, that's the battle for the win, and doesn't want to let him get too far ahead. Right now, the best spot for the 28 in the eyes of the 51 is behind him.
And back a ways, almost half the track, we got Chad Gunningsman back here driving around. And then Benjamin D back in 6th place, getting around some lap traffic there. So still have 8 cars on the lead lap. Not sure how much longer that's going to be, but somebody's got to do something about Justin Boyles here. He is a second and a half ahead, and he's not giving it up.
No, and just looking at the relative as far as gap to leader, it looks like Ted Pullen, our fan favorite, will be the next one in the sights of the 8 car as far as lead lap drivers. Currently 29 seconds behind Justin Boyles in the lead. Shortly ahead of him, Mark Kuda in the 77. So as we cycle later into this run, could only have 6 lead lap drivers, Sean.
And there's Ted Pullen up there in the yellow car. You can see that. And he's just going to let Justin go by, I believe. Nice, clean driver, very respectful driver of Ted Pullen, but not what he wanted to go a lap down right now.
No, especially now, because that's going to open it up to any of the drivers who are 1 lap down to now gain that spot on Ted Pullen. But I think that's only going to be 1 spot back to Greg Edney, as PJ is at least 4 laps down. Right now, though, Mark Kuda, the next one in target of Justin Boyles, about 5 seconds ahead of Boyles before we'll have another leader off the lead lap, and then about half a track to Benjamin D before he'll tick off the remaining only 5 drivers on the lead lap.
Justin Boyles just way out in front, 2.3 seconds up. So he is just riding clean right now, and that's why we're kind of focusing on 2nd and 3rd. They are the closest 2 cars on the track right now, it seems like.
And that 4th place car right there behind them as well, that's going to be Richard Springer in the 21 machine. But ironically enough, Sean, I talked with Boyles last night, as I said. I ran some laps with these guys, and Boyles kind of told me, I said, man, do you guys have anything for it? He said, there's no way. That was his response. He said, there's no way. So, Justin, proving that not to be the case here tonight.
Kendall Livron up in the wall.
Man, these guys are going after it.
And Richard Springer just jumps right in, takes 3rd place away, and he said on the interview he loves Darlington, and he is showing it right now.
Yeah, and if there's anything I know, he's going to continue to try to capitalize on the misfortunes of the drivers in front of him almost, Sean.
And you saw Livron get back a little bit, get a little bit squirrely there. And Richard Springer, he is going to look to the inside. He's going to try to make this pass on Oscar Jensen in this next turn. And he will make that. Oh, yeah, he'll make that pass. Oscar Jensen had to check up there.
We will see how this one continues to cycle out. Obviously, the guy that come out the best out of that so far is going to be Richard Springer.
Actually, somebody that got out even better from that is Justin Boyles. Now he is 4.5 seconds ahead.
Yeah, and I think he's going to continue to try to make that one grow. He doesn't want to allow these guys to cycle back to him, because when he makes his pit stop, he wants it to be way out ahead of everyone else, Sean.
So right now, only 6 cars left on the lead lap. Really not what we were expecting today. We were expecting a little bit tighter racing, but also a little bit cleaner racing. But man, 6 cars on the lead lap that really, and from the looks of it, only about 4 of them currently have a real shot at winning it.
Yeah, and realistically, as far as Boyle's concerned, he wants to make sure that no one else has the shot to win it. He wants to just check out and mark his name off of, hey, you know, who are we worried about this week, you know, or that week? Boyles doesn't want to be bothered until after Bristol.
Well, you can see nothing but clear skies in front of Justin Boyles right now. Not even a lap car in front of him, so this is going to do nothing but help him. Richard Springer has actually gotten it back up underneath 4 seconds now. So believe it or not, Richard Springer is actually gaining on the leader.
Yeah, and that could be a little bit of Boyle saying, all right, guys, come and get me. I've been out front. I'm going to make sure I don't get into the wall. I'm going to make sure I don't make a mistake. He doesn't want to screw himself out of an opportunity to be around later, Sean.
So now as we're getting to 52 laps to go, the question has to come into play. When do you pit? And Ted Pullen pulls into the pits himself right now.
Ted Pullen may be setting himself up for a late charge at this thing. We saw he stayed pretty clean and clear throughout the night, but right now the first driver down pit road obviously lost his lap. Could try to pit here and get it back the hard way.
Justin Boyles just put him a second lap down that time around. Of course, Justin still has to pit at some point.
Yeah, and that's really where you have to be careful if you're Justin. You have a big lead, but as we said, if it cycles through and you wait too long, you could hurt yourself more than anything.
Well, Justin's going to get around another lap car there, but Richard Springer has gotten it to within 3 seconds now, so he is definitely gaining. He is sitting at 2.8 seconds as we speak. Let's see how much closer he can get.
The biggest thing I want to watch here, Justin Boyle's going to tag the wall again, but the biggest thing I want to watch, you're going to see it come in the screen right there, the yellow and white Pepsi car of Ted Pullen. Watch how fast he's going to gain on the 8 car here of Justin Boyles with those new tires.
And he desperately needs to do that. He is 3 laps down now.
Yeah, and that's really the issue with it. He's going to get one back the hard way. That's what you want to do. If you're Ted Pullen, you want to get inside. There you go. He's going to let him go. That's going to hurt the lead a little bit because Richard Springer just about 2.5 seconds now behind Justin Boyles. If you're Ted Pullen, you got to go as hard as you can go. And if we see a late caution, maybe after everyone's pit stops, you'll cycle back through as the leader. You know Boyles has to want those new tires here, Sean. But, oh my goodness, driving the wheels off of that number 8 machine.
That allows Richard Springer to creep up even closer. Now 2.5 seconds.
It's going to hurt Springer a little bit, though, because he tagged the wall right before we cut to him there. You can see the left side on your screen of that car. It'll be the right side of the race car, but it's pretty flat now, Sean. He's put it in the wall that many times trying to gain on Justin Boyles.
I think just about everybody has put it into the wall here tonight, Brandon.
Yeah, I wish we saw the marks that you'd see in real life on the wall, because I don't think we'd have a whole lot of clean spots.
I'm not sure we'd have a wall.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I guarantee you every one of the drivers in the field is thanking whoever for the safer barriers. But Justin Boyles down pit road from the lead. When do they follow, Sean?
It's got to be soon. Richard Springer out front now. He's got a 2.8 second lead on Kendall LeBron, so that was a really good battle there for a while, and now he is far ahead of them. Looks like Kendall LeBron, yeah, he's losing time very quickly as we speak, but it looks like Richard Springer is going to be heading into the pits as well.
Yeah, and unfortunately for these guys, they missed an opportunity to gain some time on Justin Boyles. Kendall LeBron just heard on the radio this time by he will be joining the leaders on the pit road. Oscar already in, Richard Springer in, Benjamin D in, Justin Boyles already back onto the track. So everyone on our lead lap, Chad Genningsman in. All of the lead lap drivers that remain are in the pits right now. Kendall LeBron, the last one to make his way there.
And even that one extra lap out there, that might help Kendall LeBron just a little bit.
Yeah,
towards the end of the race.
Yeah, it's going to hurt him early, but it might help him later. And especially seeing right now Boyles pitted on 208. Obviously, 210 is where we're going to see the 28 make his way down pit road. So the 21 starting to blend. Looks like the 8 just went by, though. So a lot of time lost by 21 here.
So Justin Boyles going to get around Mark Kuda there.
I've got to take a look at Chad. I've got to see. Haven't said his name all night. Haven't seen him yet. Mark Boyles. You have to wonder if he's watching his son right now, his little boy, leading this thing by what looks like it's going to be 6.5 seconds by the time it's all said and done.
That's exactly what it is right now. 6.5 second lead over Richard Springer as we speak. And on fresh tires, I just don't see anybody catching this guy.
No, and he's praying, pleading, everything he can. No cautions, boys. Run these last 44 or so laps clean as we can because he's gone.
Yeah, that's the last thing he wants to see right now. He does not want to see a caution.
Oh, and I tell you what, Ted Pullen was all but wrecking off of that corner in front of the 21. He's going to have to lift. Oscar Jensen has closed the gap back to him, so a battle for second about to happen here.
Let's take a look at that battle right now. So Richard Springer says that he loves this track. It is showing right now with a second place currently. But Oscar Jensen, who has been really good out here all day long and all season long, putting the pressure on.
That last lap, a 28.5 from Justin Boyles. Super fast lap times by our leader. He's not holding anything back. The next fastest on the track was a 29.09 from third place, Oscar Jensen.
And so just to update something that's going on right now out on the track, Zach York is barely ahead of Timothy Latham. Oh, and we got a car up in the wall there.
Speaking of Zach York, just 2 laps still yet behind Daniel Dow for both of those guys trying to knock off another spot. But wondering here, Sean, Timothy was almost a full lap behind Zach York, and now they're on the same lap. So our points leader coming into this race, fan favorite Timothy Latham, may be able to hold on and gain another spot or so.
Well, neither of them, it doesn't look like either of them have pitted this time around yet. So so maybe something, I don't know, something could happen here shortly. But Justin Boyles running into some lap traffic here. That looks like Greg Klein right in front of him, and then Danny Dow in front of him as well. So he's going to have to navigate through this stuff.
There's going to be a caution, PJ.
Oh, no!
Contact with Richard Springer. And if you're Justin Boyles, you have to be sick to your stomach.
That is not what we wanted to see. PJ Engelkins in that Gatorade car. And then that's Oscar Jensen. Did you see Oscar Jensen?
Missing the front end of the 51 machine, no hood. Not sure if he actually made the primary contact with PJ Engelkens. I know the 21 made contact, but maybe it started with the 51 car.
Well, let's find out what happened here. So this is PJ Engelkens in the 93. And wow, just Richard Springer just gets right up into the back of him and right behind Oscar Jensen. Had nowhere to go. Hard hit. We're going to have to take another look at that.
Yeah, that was almost unfortunate because, huge implications here for some of these guys. PJ, yet again, we saw the same type of deal with the 8 car earlier. Justin Boyles making contact with him. Those guys on new tires. PJ looking like he hadn't pitted. Well, he actually had some new tires, but not sure there. Just off pace a little bit, Sean, and allowed the 21 to close quickly.
And we've seen a couple of these incidents where that closing rate is just a little bit faster than what you expect, and I, just a really unfortunate accident there because that was second place and third place. And both of them involved in something huge. And so, man, that might make it even fewer cars on the lead lap now.
Yeah, that's obviously, though, if you're Mark Kuda, you're back on the lead lap. You're just outside of the top 5 because Oscar's got some damage to repair. Richard's going to have to pit. Man, huge implications here. Darlington has not been kind to anyone. Not Kendall LeBron, not Justin Boyles, our first and second place cars right now. Richard Springer would look like he was going to pit, but he is going to stay out for the moment. But hasn't been kind to anyone, Sean. It has retch up and got every one of these cars so far.
And Justin Boyles is still going to maintain the lead, but he just saw a huge lead go away.
Well, the good news, if you're Justin Boyles, bad news for Oscar Jensen and Richard Springer, both contact made for both of those vehicles. So the 2 cars immediately in your mirror, which were obviously smaller than they appeared, but they got some damage there. Those have been the guys you've been worried about, and unfortunately, Sean, that's just about going to do it. Although Benjamin's up to 4th place, our picks both have had a rough run of it tonight.
Yeah, Benjamin D just pitted on lap 217. He's got 9 lap fresher tires than Justin Boyles. He is the first car that pitted on this go-around that's out there on the track still. So he might have a little bit of a short-term advantage here. And Justin Boyles is going to dive off. And, yeah, he is going to come in and get fresh tires.
Yeah, and I saw the 97 stay on the racetrack, so he's going to try to hold it there. He wants the lead late in this thing. The 9 of Chad Ginningsman going to stay right with him, and our leader by a mile there, what seemed like Justin Boyles will only come out in the 3rd position, so that's got to be worrisome if you're the guys up in front and stayed out there, Sean.
Well, and this might be a good strategy for him, though. So go ahead and get those fresh tires right now. Get in there. You know that there's only 5 or 6 cars on the lead lap. So go in there, be the freshest tires out there, and just race them.
If you're Ted Pullen, though, you were hoping the 9 and the 97 made their way to pit road because he would have been able to take a wave around after pitting just on 217 as well. So 1 lap down right now for Ted Pullen for those fans out there. But nonetheless, an opportunity at a big top 10 here when we've seen a lot of our drivers find trouble.
Well, with 35 laps to go here, I think people are going to get even more racy than they've already been. And so as long as Ted can remain that first car on the first car a lap down, then he still has a chance to get back on the lead lap at some point if there's a quick caution.
Yeah, he's going to be racing likely Greg Edney here for the lucky dog because Greg Edney there, you see him, the 30 car right behind the pace car, was 2 down. However, is going to get to take a wave around here and get just 1 lap down to race with Ted Pullen. So that's the only guy you got to worry about if you're Ted Pullen because the next car, PJ Engelkens, 7 laps down in 10th spot. So that's crazy to think about, Sean. Actually, now 8 laps down going to be PJ Engelkens. We have our 10th place driver is 8 laps down. Beyond that, Jordan Sailor's 27 laps down in 11th. Greg Klein 31 and 12th. 31 by Jason Tripp in 13th. 67th, 14 or 67 laps down, 14th. 69, both 15th and 16th. Latham and York. Then it just kind of spirals on from there. 72, 74, 172, and 178 to round out the field. But the pace lights are off. Kendall LeVron going to beat Justin Boyles off pit road. So Boyles actually going to restart in the 4th spot, second on the high line behind a teammate Chad Genningsman. We'll see what happens.
But Benjamin D, who has really been up front. He was up front for a long time there. He got the first stage win, and then he kind of went quiet there for the second stage. But now he is back up front. Pace car drops off. Benjamin D has the restart. He's waiting, and then he takes off. Chad Gunningsman going to tuck in right behind him.
The battle's going to be there in the 3rd spot, the 9 and the 28. Trying to battle it. The 28 going to hold the spot, and if you're Justin Boyles, you know you can't let him too far away. That's been the battle that we've seen all night. Caution, though, on the racetrack.
Already a caution. And so it looks like Zach York involved in this one. Yeah, there he is. He has spun out on the track. Let's go back and see if we can't figure out what happened there on another rec replay. And it looks like cars are just wrecking in front of him. That's Danny Dow there in the 21 car. It's actually the 2 on the scoreboard. But Danny Dow just gets a little out of control. Let's see if we can back that up.
Back that up just a hair. I think that's going to be payback from earlier. I think that's going to be a little bit of diving in there. Yeah. That's going to be payback on Danny Dow, who kind of seemingly ended the night for Danny Dow and 07 going to end each other's nights early with some contact. So I'd say that's likely payback. Heard some drivers back there around the incidents was talking about Tim shoving the 21 down into the corner. So retaliation is Timber's plan.
Sometimes that happens in racing. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate that a night has to end that way. But, sometimes, drivers have to take matters into their own hands, I suppose. So
what that means on the racetrack, there you see it. The 54 car is the lucky dog. He's getting his lap back, guys, for our Ted Pullen fans out in the chat. He's going to have another shot at it. And if there's one thing we know for sure, he's going to gain at least one spot. Oscar, definitely down on power, missing the front end, so he'll slide into the 7th spot pretty easily here, I'm sure. We'll have to start at the tail end of the longest line, though, for getting the lucky dog. This caution may not be the one, but if we get another one, we'll see Ted Pullen gain a few of the spots on those lap down cars. This is going to be huge.
And so Benjamin D up front right now. And so he has a shot, and he's got, they all have about equal tires, except for Richard Springer came in, got tires here on lap 223, and he is still on the lead lap. So he's going to have a little bit fresher tires, not much, and it looks like Mark Kuda is going to dive into the pits as well, and he is on the lead lap as well. So got some guys playing a little bit of strategy right now, 30 laps to go. I think we're just seeing these guys get those last fresh tires so they can hopefully make a run.
I definitely think you're right here, Sean. I see in the chat Matthew York. I want to say that is the father of Zach York, saying, "Go Flying Arrows, bring it home." Nonetheless, kin to Zach York, I'm sure. Dana Marie Chambers, go Ted. That's the guy right now who could have a great turnaround. Looks like he's going to line up seemingly in the 6th position. Will likely change once he gets the EOL for being a lucky dog. However, he still has a shot. He's still on the lead lap. He's still in this race. He can gain some points here, and I know that's going to make a lot of our fans happy. 15 people watching right now, I'm showing. Go ahead and smash the like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. We'll be doing it every week for you guys here in the iVCS, as well as Sunday night Mid-South Madness and Wednesday night 4-wide racing.
Claudel in the chat right now, Ben D, and that is who is leading the race right now. Ben D out front. just like he was there in the first stage. And he is trying to do what his teammate for the Flying Arrows can't do because he got bounced from the race a little bit earlier due to some technical difficulties. He is trying to bring it home for the Flying Arrows.
Yeah, and I'm curious to know. I like to know these types of things. So if you're out in the chat watching us right now, go ahead and drop the relation to these drivers. I want to say Dana Marie Chambers is Ted's mom, but I don't want to say 100%. Let us know. Claudel, I'm not going to try. We're going to call you Claudel D because we call him Benjamin D with that tough last name, but he's proved to be tough in this race as well, Sean.
Well, we like tough last names in racing. I mean, that makes it more fun. It makes it sound a little bit more mysterious out there on the track. But you can see still a little bit of damage on that car, and I think everybody has damage on their cars right now. Dana Marie Chambers says no, sister.
Oh, it's a sister. Okay. I knew there was a close relation there. I wasn't sure. Does that? I don't want to be wrong again, but Marianne, maybe the mother. Not sure. I could be totally wrong. I know you guys are here week in and week out supporting Ted, and that's all we could ask for. Marianne Cornell is our mom. There you go. Mom's been out in the chat with us as well. Still waiting on Claudel and Matthew York to respond as well. Hopefully they're able to hear and maybe respond to us. But we appreciate you guys hanging with us through this one. This has been a long, grueling race for everyone involved, and no matter who you're here to support, likely they're okay, even if they're not. A lot of racing still to go in round one of the playoffs. Richmond next week, Sean, followed by Bristol.
Man, I cannot wait to see what happens at Richmond, especially now that we know how these points are kind of going to shake out a little bit, where now we've got some of the leaders that have to do catching up, and they've not been in that position all year long.
Yeah, and especially the guys that were locked in and safe early on in the winding down of the regular season who aren't so safe now falling back, especially if we see someone lower in the standings pulling off a victory here tonight as we wind it down. The pace car, Sean, yet again is going to leave the racetrack, safety of pit road, and Benjamin D's hard on the gas. He's trying to get away from the 3 hungry cars, the 4 or 5 hungry cars behind him now.
Let's see how far away he can pull out there. Chad Gunnick's been kind of blocking a couple of guys from getting up front there. Kendall LeVron, whoa, there's a name. So he is back up towards the front again. Again, one of those drivers you didn't expect to be up there, but he is going to battle for that third place right now.
He's going to battle as Chad Ginnigsman going to try to slow up the leader, Benjamin D. That's exactly what you want to see if you're Kendall LeVron or Justin Boyles. There he comes. Ted pulling back on the lead lap, but back out front, we're going to see Benjamin D trying to two-step away from these guys. Justin Boyles, Kendall LeVron, Chad Ginnigsman, and Benjamin D, the front 4. You could throw a blanket over him, a little bit of separation to the 5th car, Richard Springer, Sean, but the intensity is picking up.
Well, I'm not overly concerned about the 5th place car. He is more of a long-run driver, so he is just waiting for that long run. I think, we had a wreck out there on the track. Danny Dow wrecked, and then he jumped into the pits. So it looks like his night's going to be over.
Justin Boyle starting to push the issue for 3rd place. He's ever so close to Kendall. Going to lose a little bit of ground, but Benjamin not really able to get away from anyone behind. Got to be worrisome if you're the driver of the 97 right now leading this thing. Now he's going to gap a couple car lengths as Chad has to wash high. Man, it's getting tight. He's just going to let these 2 go behind him and say, hey, 4th place sounds pretty good, but here comes 5th place. Richard Springer not going to get there, though. Now we can see the battle between those 2 cars. They've been out front most of the night. Justin Boyles, Kendall LeBron, both trying to punch their name into the next round. Obviously, if you're Kendall, you've got more to gain from winning than you do if you're Boyles, who's a little bit safer than Kendall right now.
Well, I think that move by Chad was a good move to just let these guys go at it. As many wrecks as there have been and as many times that people have hit the wall because they're overdriving the car, I think he's just kind of hoping, you know what, you guys go ahead, take care of business up front, and if you guys wreck, I'll take the win.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly, well, we're about to have a new leader. maybe, possibly, we will see. Kendall's making it stick on new tires. New leader, the 28, trying to get away from the 8 of Justin Boyles here, who did not make it around Benjamin D in that corner. He's got to go now. He's got to get that spot before Kendall walks away with it, Sean.
And you see the 5 car back there. That is Timothy Latham, still out there on the track. He is definitely a lot of laps down. He is about 68 laps down right now, but he is still out there driving, trying to get as many points as he can.
Scary moment for Justin Boyles as he takes second place. He looks inside of the 97. The 97 disappears and then pops back up somewhere behind him. So a clean pass, but there he goes. He's gone again. And he's back.
And we just saw in the chat that Claude is Ben D's dad. So Benjamin D's dad is in the chat right now, rooting for his son back there in 4th place right now. But up front, Kendall LeVron, all of a sudden, half a second ahead of Justin Boyles.
Yeah, we saw Kendall LeVron early in stage 1. He led some laps. A lot of stage 2 led some laps, Sean, but what we didn't see was him able to capture either stage win, but that's okay if you're Kendall LeVron because you want to capture this win right here. And Justin Boyles, the guy in second place right now, last time by was a hair slower, but this time by was a hair faster. So they're dicing it up front, about 0.2 faster that time for Justin Boyles and Kendall LeBron. And you can see the gap starting to close amongst 1 and 2 as they pull away from 3 and 4.
Well, you were talking a little bit earlier about Kendall LeBron and how he didn't like how he won that one race that he won. And you think he'd be a little bit happier with this one?
I think he's going to be disgusted if he doesn't get it done because he knows he had a bad, fast race car. And the one thing that you've seen is a lot of leaders, fastest guys tonight, have found trouble. And unfortunately for Kendall, that 8 car in his mirror has not. So I think he would be completely tickled with a 1st place or even a 2nd place here because that's going to go a long way, especially if we go into Richmond and Bristol and see just this many cars, only playoff drivers really in the race. I don't think he's going to go down without a fight. Obviously, right now, Benjamin D and Chad Gennigsman could be in the hot seat if these two tangle and cause contact and maybe an incident amongst them. You see the playoff banner there on that 8 machine, the front of it, as he sails down into the corner.
Well, and you saw them passing a slower car on the inside there. That was Oscar Jensen. So somebody that had such high hopes and had such a great race going a little bit earlier. He is completely wrecked. He is a lap down right now, missing a nose. So pretty much his chance to win this race is gone at this point.
Yeah, and good news for the Ted Pullen fans. He currently sits in 7th place on the lead lap. Looks like he may have either some issues with that car. Oh, there's a little bit of contact for 3rd place, but for the moment it's going to settle in. But Ted Pullen, 11 seconds behind the leader, obviously maybe down on power himself. Not really the night that he had hoped to have, but
contact!
Contact! Still a great race for him, though, because a 7th place is better than a 17th place in these playoffs, and especially the way this night has went, could easily turn around for him. But back up front, the lead about the same as it was. Kendall LeBron trying not to make a mistake for the final 15 laps here, Sean. Can Justin Boyles close the gap and have one last shot at Kendall LeBron?
Well, he is definitely stalking him. He is about 1/3 of a second behind, and he's not really gaining or losing right now, so he is just biding his time and waiting and maybe hoping that one of these lap cars slows down Kendall LeBron just a little bit.
I will say our 3rd and 4th place drivers that time through the corner did exactly what we've seen much of the field do tonight. They tagged the wall and drug it for a little bit. But back out front, still yet 0.35 seconds. Currently the gap from 1st to 2nd place. But you're exactly right, Sean. We've seen Kendall LeBron overstep the boundaries just a hair variously tonight and tag the outside wall. He's got to remember that he cannot afford to do that with the 8 car so close in his mirror. That could be the race if he does. And that's all the pressure in the world for the 28 right now, trying to carve his name as the first ever playoff series winner. Wouldn't it be sweet, though, if Justin Boyles, the league owner, was the first ever playoff driver to etch his name in history? I will say third place might change hands in a lap or so. Richard Springer on the long run setup, trying to get by Chad in the number 9, who's slow now, up off the groove. Here comes the 21, making his way inside of the 9. Hopefully, yep, Chad's just going to let him go. 4th sounds better than 14th as we continue to roll here. But, man, it's a gap up to the leader, Sean.
Well, man, all sorts of fun storylines. The owner of the league possibly taking home the first victory. A huge underdog possibly taking the first victory. So it wouldn't really matter either one of these two guys win. It'd be a great story either way. But what a great race we've had all day long.
Yeah, and I just hope the racing is all we have left. Obviously, personally, don't want to see a caution here. Want to see the two guys that belong out front settle this one. They've battled their way through incidents. They've avoided all issues on the racetrack, and they've showed that they belong here at the top spot as we close this one out. Still yet about 0.3 of a second, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, depending on where we are on the racetrack, between first and second. But it's almost like Boyles is that close but can't get any closer.
And now it's bumped up to about 0.4 of a second. Not an insurmountable lead right now, but I'll tell you, they are 5 seconds ahead of third place right now. So it is a 2-car race with 10 laps to go.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part. If you're Justin Boyles and you make a mistake in second place, you've got seemingly a mile back to Richard Springer in third. But if you're Kendall LeBron in the lead, now up to half a second. But still yet, Sean, if you make a mistake, Justin Boyles is right there, and you don't want to take the chance.
Well, I definitely agree with that, but I don't really see Justin Boyles taking too many chances either. I think he seems content right now to see if Kendall rubs the wall like he's been doing kind of all night long.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, but I will say Kendall LeBron, by being the leader, should be edging in ever so closely on another bonus point. But realistically, not really worried about it, Sean, because if he wins here, he punches his ticket for sure. No matter what happens into the round of 12, you win and you move on the same. The iVCS runs many rules similar to the actual NASCAR package, and that is one of the case. This time by 7 laps remain for the 28 car, who is very much an underdog in just about everyone's eyes, but he's proven tonight maybe he shouldn't be, Sean.
Yep, 0.6 of a second separate him and Justin Boyles with 7 laps to go. I'm not sure there's enough time for Justin to get up there unless something drastically changes quickly.
Yeah, and you saw that time there just barely out of the corner of the shot. Boyles really sent the car into the corner, trying everything he can. It's going to come up as a big lose for him. Now lost 0.3 of a second in that corner. But he tried all he could try to get to the back bumper of the 28, make it stick on the bottom, just searching around the racetrack, trying ever so desperately to find grip to try to win this thing. But Kendall, through the last 25 laps here, has been seemingly perfect, and I don't want to jinx him as this time by he's going to come back to just 5 laps to go. As long as there's no caution, man, it's going to be tough for anyone to dethrone Kendall, who's been strong from the drop of the primary green flag back in stage 1, Sean.
And just to update everybody, so back a little bit further, 5 seconds behind. That is third and fourth place right there. So they are kind of out of the picture right now with 5 laps to go unless something happens. So Kendall LeBron in control of his own destiny here.
Yeah, and I will say a little bit of update on the guys that we were talking about a bunch of laps down. Timothy Latham was able to overtake Zach York for 14th position. Both Zach York, Timothy Latham, and Dakota Jorgensen have overtaken Daniel Dow. So Zach York, Timothy Latham, Zach York, and Dakota Jorgensen 14th, 15th, and 16th back in the points. Oscar Jensen still yet 1 lap down, holding on to the 9th position right now, so not much more you can ask for as he's making way right now for our leader there. You see about to go 2 laps down. Greg Klein will be the next guy, and honestly, you hate to see that if you're Justin Boyles, because he made it look so effortless getting by the 51 car. Obviously, a little bit of help from the 51, but hopefully that's Ted Pullen up ahead of him. So hopefully going to give the same courtesy to the leaders here. Likely will. Ted Pullen, a great driver. Maybe a little bit of head games being played in the driver chat.
So Kendall LeVron with 3/4 second lead. And, wow, Boyles closed very quickly on that corner. It is down to 0.3 of a second all of a sudden.
And that's what I wanted to say. The head games that were being played, Boyles told him it was frustrating to see him out in front of him, maybe trying to get a mistake from the 28, and that's exactly what he got. Now, this time by Sean, 1 lap remains, 0.2 of a second for the Justin Boyles machine in second place, but does he have anything left in the tank? Are the tires going to hold up? Can he make one last drive? Setting himself up for a big run off the corner there. You see him charge down the hill on the backstretch, though. Kendall LeVron has 2 more turns, and he's a playoff winner. Here comes Boyles diving it in hard, going to smack the wall. If Boyles just drove a normal corner, he might have come out the winner, but Kendall LeVron at Darlington is going to get it done.
Justin Boyles just comes up short. Just really dove into that last corner, and who's to say, but if he had not done that, he might have passed Kendall LeVron there at the end.
Yeah, and I just think if he just drove a normal 3 and 4 there with the contact that Kendall made, maybe Kendall drove it a little deeper, anticipating a dive like that from Boyles just for a bump, and he got into the wall. So if Boyles doesn't do that, maybe coulda, shoulda, woulda, but did not get there. So Kendall LeVron, I imagine there will be no motor left in this machine here momentarily, Sean. He's going to burn it down.
Huge victory for Kendall LeVron, leading so many more laps than he's led all season long. This is the time to peak here in the playoffs, week number 1. Welcome to the round of 12, Kendall LeVron.
Yeah, and that's got to be a huge relief on the car, and just about the only car that can say that are him and Justin Boyles, maybe a little bit of Chad Gettingsman and Benjamin D as well, but everyone else behind them, a lot of work to do moving forward. You gotta be concerned, Sean, about the way this one played out and how it's going to go beyond.
Absolutely crazy today. Just not really what anybody was expecting on the track, but let's pull up our results here. Well, it looks like our results are having a little bit of trouble getting up on the screen. So we apologize for that. We will try to get that fixed for everybody. But let's see if we can't, while we're working on that, get Richard Springer. And he is our 3rd place finisher. Let's see if we can't get him up here into the chat and see what's going on in his mind right now. Richard Springer, Sean and Brandon up in the booth. You know, we talked to you not too long ago, but 3rd place finish. What a great race.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I think you guys jinxed me is what happened. No, I don't know if that was my goof going into the corner there. I had a slow car. I think it might have been the 93. I don't remember, but I think I made a bad judgment there. It looked like he was off the bottom, so I tried to go under, and that didn't work. So I hope I didn't mess up Oscar too bad. I think he got caught up in that.
Well, I will tell you, Richard, we did see that more than just you tonight. The closing rate heading into the corners proved to be major here, and I don't think it was anything you did wrong necessarily because, as I said, we saw at least 2 or 3 other instances where the same thing happened, buddy. But, you know, you said you loved Darlington. Now we move into Richmond beyond this race, and as we said before, you know, you're kind of racing for the Tier 2 playoffs, the lone man standing in those playoffs tonight, so that's got to feel good. But how do you prepare for Richmond to try to hold on to the lead in those Tier 2 playoffs?
So love-hate. Now we're going to hate. Well, I haven't had any setups all year, so I've just been monkeying with the standard one, so that's why I've been pretty much slow all year. But then I started getting some from another outfit they offer for free, so I'll probably grab one of those and adjust it the way I think I can drive it. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, and I definitely think that's the opportunity, buddy. And I know we haven't really got to talk to you a whole lot this year, but one thing I will say is I know for sure each and every week you're running just as hard as anyone else. So we're going to give you the spotlight just for a moment, buddy. And I turn it over to Sean afterwards. But are there any last comments, thoughts, shout outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, shout out to Justin Boyles for doing the league. It's a lot of work. I'm in another couple of leagues, and there's just a lot to do. So I want to thank him on behalf of everybody, and also for you guys to doing a broadcast. There's some more preparation, there's time, and hopefully there wasn't too many cautions here, because that's, as a broadcaster, that's got to be death, right? Having a bunch of caution laps. So it wasn't too bad tonight, but we hope we get better.
Man, we had a great time tonight, and we always do enjoy this league. Lots of good, hard racing. You did great out there. We can't wait to see what you do next week, buddy.
All right. Lots of hard racing, that's for sure.
All right, my friend. Well, we're going to drop you back down into the chat, and we are going to do a couple more interviews, but we will see you next week.
Ready, go talk to the winner.
All
Congratulations on that third place, buddy.
Appreciate that.
All right. So let's see if we can't get second place in here now. So this is going to be Justin Boyles. Again, so close there at the finish. Just couldn't quite get it all the way there.
Justin Boyles, Brandon Browning, and Sean Griffith up in the booth. Buddy, you got a copy?
I got you, man.
Well, Justin, the one thing that I have to ask, I want to start the interview off here. I know you stitch effort there, entering 3 and 4, but you know, it almost seemed like a regular turn 3 and 4 maybe would have got you ever so closer to the 28. Anything you'd have done different if you could do it again?
No, I did everything I could. The bottom line's just not there in that corner. You don't carry any speed coming off, and the only really place you can pass somebody is either off of the top side of 4 or on the bottom going into 1. So I knew if I couldn't be on his inside coming off of 4, I wouldn't have never been able to finish the pass. Probably would have got up into him. So, like I said, that was just a last-ditch effort, just trying to make something happen.
Yeah, and I certainly agree. I'm going to go ahead and turn you over to Sean here. I believe he has a question or two for you, buddy.
All right.
You know, Justin, more past this race than anything else, and you know, you kind of seen the standings just kind of out of your car, but or the standings of this race. What do you think changed? We see some people up front that haven't been up front all season long, and then you see all of the leaders all the way in the back. So, what is that going to do to their mentality? What does it do to your mentality going forward?
Well, I think a lot of what you saw was guys who normally been running up front trying to make sure they keep it that way and maybe driving harder than they need to. And then, other guys just kind of riding around and trying to be there at the end. So as far as mentality goes, I mean, you just got to stay out of trouble, stay ahead of the wrecks, which we were able to do all night, which was great. But, just got to stay ahead of all that stuff and keep the car clean, which I did. I didn't even get my first 2 incident points until when I just sent it down in turn 3 on the last lap. So.
Man, that is absolutely amazing. And one more question before we let you go. You know, you're basically the owner of this league. You're the one that created this. Did you ever think that we'd be in week 1 of the playoffs and it would be this successful?
I mean, it's nice thinking back how far we've come from February. Definitely driver count and the roster's changed a lot, but that's part of the growing pains of a league. And it's nice to be here, to be to the playoffs. It's 36 race seasons, just a long time. And this league I think it's got a bright future ahead. There's a lot of kinks we got to get worked out, but as we improve as a league and continue to get better and grow and find great drivers to fill out the rest of this field. I mean, hopefully that 2-car battle you saw there at the end turn into, a 10, 15-car battle next season in the playoffs.
Oh, man, great race tonight. We really enjoyed calling it. We really enjoyed watching it. We're going to get you back down into your chat down there, and we're going to speak to the winner this week, but we will see you next week.
Real quick, Justin, any last comments, thoughts, or shout-outs you'd like to give before we do let you go celebrate the second place?
Just shout out my team, man. We spent some time practicing and working hard and, trying to get the cars right. Unfortunately, for 2 of them, it didn't come to fruition for them. But for myself, it allowed me to have a shot at the win. So that was great. We got a great team over at Flashpoint, some smart guys who really know how to get these cars right. And so shout out to those guys, man. It was great running with them, and hopefully they have a little more success next week.
Absolutely, buddy. Congratulations.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, one more interview to go, and it's our winner, and maybe a surprise winner to everybody except probably himself. Let's see if we can pull him in, Kendall LeVron. Kendall, Sean, and Brandon up here in the booth. Buddy, what a great race.
Oh my god, I just can't explain it whatsoever, man. Like the car was running perfectly fine, like perfect the entire time. Like it got a little loose every now and then, but just one small adjustment just made it work.
Well, Kendall, I've got some good news, buddy. With that win, you just locked yourself into the round of 12. You don't have to worry about Richmond. You don't have to worry about Bristol. You're going to be there on the other side of the round of 12. How does that feel?
Feels kind of great. Really, really great. I can take a load off of me for the next two races because I got a feeling those two are going to be really hectic. And honestly, they're probably going to be a lot of wrecks. Kind of like this one, but I think maybe more, depending.
Well, buddy, you've led 2 laps all season long. One of those laps won you the race in Pocono. But now tonight, I don't even know how many laps you led, but you led a lot of that race. Is this something we can look forward to for the next few weeks, a different Kendall LeVron out on the track?
Yeah, because it's the playoffs. I'm giving it everything I got, more than anything. That's what I'm trying to do, and basically I hope I proved it tonight to everybody that's going for the championship itself and the people that are watching you and all the admins. Like I'm willing to be a contender in this.
Well, that's certainly all you can ask for. You've done all you can do here, and as you said, a load off 2 weeks coming up, being Richmond and Bristol, and then it's hard back to it, man. I know it's got to feel so amazing to be here right now talking to us versus some of the other guys that we've seen up front all night. And I told Sean as we were early in the broadcast, and maybe even before we went live, I told him, I said, there's going to be a guy tonight, Sean, that we see surface that we haven't seen a whole lot of, that, we didn't really get to know that well as being a front runner. And tonight, for the most part, that was you. I do want to let you know I'm looking right now. Chalk it up as another bonus point. Kendall LeVron, 60 laps led, the most laps led in this race. Oscar Jensen led 51. So you did lead the most tonight, buddy. How does that feel?
Oh man, like most laps, that's actually pretty awesome. And I just want to let you guys know this win is actually more special to me than anything because the paint scheme that I was representing was my father's old paint scheme back from 1996 to 97 whenever he raced dirt super stocks whenever I was like 6-7 years old growing up.
Man, that's amazing. We're looking at that paint scheme right now on the screen. Beautiful paint scheme. We just love seeing it out there, and we loved seeing it out front tonight.
Oh yeah, I was happy to be up front and all. I just try to. I'm lost of words, bro. I'm sorry. I'm all
That's
jumbled
okay.
up.
That's all right.
But just staying consistent. All I was trying to do is stay consistent, try to stay out of trouble. The hardest thing for me was trying to stay off the wall, but you got to have that Darlington stripe going down the car,
Yeah, it's not Darlington if you don't, buddy, and that's for sure. I know you're going to have a heck of a celebration tonight, but before we get there, first of all, I want to say congratulations because I know a lot of people kind of counted you out coming into this and didn't really expect Kendall LeVron to walk out of Darlington a winner, buddy. So congratulations from myself and from Sean. But any last thought outs, comments, or sorry, let me try that again. Any last shout outs, thoughts, or comments you would like to make before you go celebrate?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out to my family and friends that are watching, everybody that puts this together, you guys putting the broadcast together, and all the competitors that are in it for the championship. And we race every week just to put a show up for you guys and everybody that's watching. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you, and we wish you all the best going forward for the rest of the playoffs. But welcome to the round of 12.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Have a great night. All right, so Brandon, let's regroup here a little bit. So, what a fantastic race, and we're going to get those standings out there to everybody here in the next couple of days, and then we'll definitely be here next week. But next week, Richmond, 280 laps around a short track. How do you think that's going to go?
Trying to think of the proper way to say it here on the stream, because in my mind, it's not really proper for the stream. Not very well. We'll say it that way. I think the big point that I want to hit on, man, if you told me coming into Darlington that we were going to walk out the other side with Kendall LeBron, technically our points leader, the first driver that we're going to have in the round of 12, I would have told you you're probably crazy, because we've seen Oscar Jensen, Timothy Latham, Zach York, Benjamin D. Those guys seemingly run faster. But that just goes to show, Sean, Richmond next week, who knows who will walk out of there the winner.
And even better, right after that, another short track, Bristol. So we have Darlington, which was just a crazy upside-down race. You have 2 short tracks coming up. You never know what's going to happen. There could be some real huge names not make the next round.
Yeah, and that's the scary part. And honestly, I'm going to widen that perspective just a little bit, because when you talk, just as you said, you go Darlington, Richmond, Bristol, that's your round of 16. But then 3 total opposite tracks in the round of 12. We go Las Vegas, Talladega, the Roval. So these first 6 races, you cover a little bit of everything, Sean.
Absolutely. And so that's how this championship is shaping out. And that's a good thing. You know, it's good to see who the best real driver is overall. And that's what we're going to continue to find out here on the iVCS playoffs. We will see everybody next week, Friday, September 11th at 9 p.m. Eastern. So we will get everybody there at Richmond for 280 laps of fun. But for now, I'm Sean Griffith for Brandon Browning. Everybody have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you next week.